You know them. We love them. We know them. You love them. Helix Sleep is the best mattress to walk the planet Earth.
Helix Sleep is the greatest mattress created by mankind. I feel like I've said enough.
If you truly are not sleep, like the amount of people who post like, oh, my bag's hurting on, like they'll post like a question box on Instagram, influencer, my bag's hurting, please send me mattress recommend. Helix. I'm like, you've got to get on the Helix Sleep train. It is so good. It's so comfortable. I'm so excited to have like our place set up at the lake with our Helix mattress and like just get there and be so cozy, comfortable everywhere we go.
Then she says set up because we were going to get another Helix mattress because we are remodeling. And the Helix mattress we got, we're going to put into the 2 guest bedrooms.
Because it's a queen size. We like a king size mattress.
Yeah.
So we're getting another Helix. Listen, Helix mattress has a lineup of 20 unique mattresses. It is the perfect place to find the perfect mattress for you. All you have to do is take a quick online quiz. And I know quiz can be scary, but listen, it's just asking you questions about how you like to sleep. So it can pair you with the perfect mattress for you. They have award-winning luxe and ultra premium elite collections.
Plus, you get a 100-night sleep trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty depending on the mattress, which means you can sleep on it, roll around on it for 100 nights. And if you're not absolutely obsessed with your Helix mattress, you can send it back for a full refund. You won't because it's going to be the greatest mattress you ever slept on in your life. And the best part is the prices are incredible. Like stop going to those showrooms and then having to explain all the things about mattresses. Like Helix has got that covered. Take that short little quiz. It's not even a quiz. It's just like you get to talk about how you like to sleep. That sounds like fun to me. It was fun for me.
If you don't want to listen to us, which is weird, you can also listen to the multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine who recommend Helix Sleep as a go-to solution for improving your sleep.
This President's Day sale through February 13th, Helix is offering 20% off site-wide plus 2 free dream pillows with your mattress purchase. Go to helixsleep.com/VIALL. That is helixsleep.com/VIALL for 20% off plus 2 free dream pillows. helixsleep.com/VIALL. With Helix, better sleep starts now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I'm your host, Nick, and is Cowboy Carter a country album?
Here's the thing. I have some stats pro and against, if you guys would like to hear them.
She's a cowgirl.
I first didn't care. I was like happy for Beyoncé. And then I did start seeing some videos of people listening to songs on the album.
Cherry picking, as you will.
Maybe so. That's definitely as the internet does.
Yeah.
Yeah. The internet is.
Yeah, I guess it would like you get, country song of the year. But yeah, if they're not all country songs on the album, how do you get country album?
There was definitely at least some videos I saw, certainly cherry picked, that I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm a stat queen. I love stats. So I have some stats about it.
Self-proclaimed.
So self-proclaimed stat queen here. The argument for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter being a country album is she's from Texas, country state, lead single.
I'm from Wisconsin.
Cheese
But
state.
Texas.
You're a country boy.
I don't know if we necessarily claim Texas as like
but it's cowboy.
Okay.
Rodeo.
Right.
And also
listen, she's making an argument.
Okay.
I have against arguments as well. I'm unbiased.
Texas Roadhouse.
Mary is unbiased.
I'm unbiased. Has banjo in it. There is a banjo. In the song Sweet Honey Buckin', which first off called Sweet Honey Buckin', Beyonce says, look at that horse, look at that horse, look at that horse. Horses, big themes in country music.
It's true.
Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, and Shaboozey on the album.
Willie Nelson.
Also, even though Beyonce never released a country music before, neither did Post Malone. And now he has one too. Also, she has a song about alligators, which to my Southern culture is country. The argument against.
It's more like swampy.
But swamp is country.
Don't you have one on your farm?
It doesn't sound
You
like
ever drank a Busch Light riding on a boat through the Everglades? That's country. And you see an alligator right there?
Busch Light.
A bush?
A little John boat, yeah.
A little
It's
Busch Latte?
definitely country. Those people are definitely listening to country music.
Exactly.
But how many songs total are on album?
How many songs total are on album? Let's see.
The album? What's our?
On the Cowboy Carter.
On album?
On record.
We speak in shorthand these days.
One of the songs is called American Requiem.
27.
27 songs?
27.
That's actually a lot of
That's so many.
Okay,
Yeah.
how many?
And it's an art piece.
If there's 12 songs that are fully country, it's a country album.
Okay,
'cause my God.
here's the argument against. Beyonce has not previously released a country album.
Don't care
She's
about that.
Experimenting with the genre. She raps
she can.
in spaghetti, but that is spaghetti western.
It's one of the
country.
songs.
Yes.
Yeah, but like
I'm
country,
lost now.
you know, country.
Jason Aldean has rapped in Dirt
Uh,
Road Anthem.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Florida Georgia Line had Nelly and a bunch of
Yes. The album overall does combine many genres, which is the point of it. So it's kind of a genreless album by design.
Well, then how do you win a genre award if it's a genre-less album?
Exactly. And then also,
Hate
and
that.
maybe
I do hate that.
and maybe the most important part, country musicians typically drive big trucks and drink a lot of beer, with songs focusing on these two things.
hmm
Beyonce does neither of those things in the album.
Does she have a dog?
I don't know. See,
Kind of need a dog.
Kind of
Kinda
need a
need a
dog.
dog.
You need a dog. You need
Why?
a lifted four-wheeler. You need a hitch.
Does Daisy have a lifted truck?
Maybe one.
I say this is a total outsider because I definitely have embraced country music over the past couple years, but
Mhm.
like I'm definitely not part of the gang. Like I would love to be welcomed, but like I
Yeah.
don't think I'm really in a position to like
You
be
may
like,
yee-haw, but you don't haw yee.
yeah, sure.
Who were our other nominees?
The other
It's a
nominees.
good question.
Casey Musgraves. I think
Casey
Shabuzi
Musgraves.
was Post Malone country album of the year nominee.
I just feel like for the longest of times, country music was excluded from like all the other like award shows. It's like country music wasn't even welcomed at like the Grammys or the AMAs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So they like created their own industry, and now that it's popping, all the other musical like geniuses want to get a part of the
Mhm.
nookie. You know?
Well, Cowboy Carter goes back to 2016 when Beyonce performed with the Chicks at the CMAs and
the chicks.
The Chicks.
the Dixie
Dixie
Chicks.
Chicks.
They rebranded to the
They
Chicks.
rebranded to the Chicks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after they got canceled by the country music.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't get canceled for that. But anyway, so at 2016 CMAs, Beyonce and the Chicks performed Daddy Lessons off of Beyonce's Lemonade, which is a country song. And that performance, banger. Kenny Chesney and many other people pissed about it. They're so mad Beyonce's there. Beyonce takes that personally, a la Michael Jordan. And she makes Cowboy Carter and then wins Best Country Album.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. What was he
And I
playing?
took that personally.
Okay, wait. So who else
Yeah.
was nominated?
We have Cowboy Carter, obviously. Higher by Chris Stapleton.
Oh,
Deeper Well, Casey Musgraves, banger album. F1 Trillion, Post Malone. Whirlwind, Lainey Wilson.
I'm gonna be honest. If Chris Stapleton is in the mix, how
is
is he
very
not
talented.
winning?
But would you not say he's more Southern rock?
No,
No?
Casey Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves, also great.
This sounds like Beyonce won this award because she's Beyonce.
Or is it because Chris Stapleton didn't have a banjo in his album?
Chris Stapleton has a banjo in
Chris
his heart.
Stapleton has had a banjo out of the womb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton was born with a banjo
Post Malone, though.
on a trailer hitch.
F1 Trillion.
F1
On a dirt
Trillion.
road.
Post Malone goes from trap to country, and that's okay.
Have you seen Post Malone's first musical video? It's awesome.
Musical
video?
Okay.
Music video?
Okay.
Performance?
Aw.
It's sweet.
Thank
That's
you.
sweet.
You're welcome.
That's
Mm.
giving
Nick is
Bronwyn
also
saying
still
emotional
Nick's
manipulative.
also still saying it's a bop.
Aww.
I
What's,
know.
if we're not calling songs a bop?
No.
What is
We
it? What are
can.
the kids saying?
Kronk.
Are you being serious?
Please don't say
No,
Kronk.
That's
I'm
so
not
Kronk.
being serious. That's so Kronk.
Not very
Kronk?
sabotaging.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, say Kronk.
People that say bop think that Monday is the first day of the week.
Ooh.
Leia thinks Monday's the first.
Monday
day of
is the
week.
first day of the week.
It's not.
Just
I think you
What
guys are
the fuck?
dominated by the work week
I
and
also
not
think
life.
Monday is the first day of the week,
Sunday.
But it's just not.
but it
Monday.
is.
Look
No,
on your calendar.
It's such a Gen Z thing to say. I'm just going to decide what it is for me because it makes my feelings.
No, it just is what makes sense.
just isn't.
Like what you're doing on the weekend, and then Monday is the start of your week. You're like, let me get my shit. We're going into work.
But
we're
if
doing
you
work.
look at the count,
You're still smoking weed on Sunday, and like you say that like it's the weekend. Okay,
Like,
well if it's the
come
weekend, it
at
can't
me.
be the first of the week.
That's like someone working third shift saying 5 p.m. is the morning.
to them it is.
Sure.
But also, you're saying that the week starts on Monday because you have a Monday through Friday job.
Yup.
Some people work on the weekends.
Boom. Also, open up your calendar app. What day of the week starts the week?
Who invented the calendar app?
According to most Western calendars, Sunday is considered the first day of the week. However, the international standard ISO 8601.
Oh my God.
I don't care
AI
about
robot.
that.
Designates Monday as the first day of the week.
That sounds like nerds think Monday is the first day of the week.
Freaking
Grimes'
nerds.
baby.
Have you
Yes.
ever heard of the Sunday Scaries?
It's because your week has
Yes.
already started.
Yep.
No, that's because your
No,
weekend's
that's because
over
your
and you're
week is
going
ending.
into the
So you just
first
said
day
the
of
weekend's
work week.
over, so the beginning of the week is Sunday.
At
No,
12
it's Monday
o'clock.
because you have Sunday
At 12
series.
o'clock a.m., it's over. Weekend's
know.
over. So you have
So
Sunday
you're a
scaries
Monday-
because you're like, no,
you
I'm
think
scared.
You're a Monday?
Monday is the beginning of the week. And Monday is my favorite day of the week
Thank
because it's like, well, actually, not really anymore. It used
She
to
used
be,
to
for
say
sure.
that when she like
It used to be because that was the
That
day
I
that
disagree with.
when
Now
she
you've
was in
lost
the
me.
industry, you know?
Well, that was my favorite surgery day.
Okay. You made
And
that
so I
sound.
loved
Industry
yeah.
sounded kind of ominous.
Like I was
Yeah.
like, what, sitting on a couch or something? Like
Casting couch.
Oh my god.
Why was Monday the best day for surgery?
because it was my favorite. I was doing orthopedics and it was my favorite surgery day, and so I was like,
Oh.
Monday's my favorite day of the week, and Nick was like, I've never heard that before. That's so stupid.
I said stupid.
I think so. And then now I'm like, okay, it's not. And you're like, yeah, you used to say that because you used to want to be like different and quirky.
Maybe
I'm not like all the other girls.
maybe you just
I'm not
like
other girls.
orthopedic
I
surgery.
love Monday.
Oh, she is so interesting, my girlfriend. Yeah.
4 a.m. is the best
No,
time
the
to
girl
wake
that
up.
I'm
She's
refusing
like, is
to
your
date
girlfriend
is
like a little
so
bit younger
cool.
than you? But like, yeah, but don't worry. She thinks
loves
Monday's the
Mondays.
coolest day of the week.
What day of the week do you think Reese
I'm
Witherspoon?
different.
I think 4 a.m. is the best time to get up because you get so many things done before you start your day.
exactly. I like to work out at 4 a.m.
Well, we have an
Wait, I
amazing
wanna-
episode. What?
I was just going to circle us back to the Grammys for a second because I wanted to say justice for Babyface.
Yeah, we
yeah.
forgot to talk about that on Tuesday's episode. I think most people have seen this by now. But did those ladies get fired?
No, but I think most.
They didn't.
Well, I don't know, but most people also haven't seen that they apologized right after too. So like,
They
What?
did apologize immediately.
because people are clipping them interrupting it and not giving the context of like, so when she apologized, she was like, I just want to formally say like, I'm really sorry to Babyface and like the people watching. Like I was being tapped on the shoulder and a lot of people were saying like, chapel, chapel, chapel. So it was like, she was kind of pressured to then like interrupt it. And she immediately was like, I'm sorry. That wasn't like,
But then she tried to
But-
defend it with like, I'm such a big fan of Babyface. And it's like,
Okay, name your top 5 Babyface songs.
no, but it's just like, you can't say you're a fan and like get your way out of things just because you're like such a big fan of them.
someone deserves to get fired.
maybe.
Maybe it wasn't them.
I mean, they're
Like,
getting death threats online. So it's like,
That's
death
too
threat?
far.
Well, that's crazy.
I've seen a lot of comments and stuff where it's like they were just doing their jobs and maybe they did it wrong because someone was tapping on their shoulder. But
It's
like,
definitely possible that it's not their fault. Like doing those red carpet interviews they're hard. It's like it's live, it's in real time, it's very fast. You have people coming in and out. Like sometimes you're reading a teleprompter, which for me that's a nightmare. But yeah, you have producers and cameramen all around you. That you got like someone in your ear. Like literally, you have a phone mic in your ear. So like, but someone deserves to be fired. Maybe not those two ladies, because it maybe someone was like, "Hey, it's Chappell, like get Chappell, 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 Chappell," and they're like, and they were listening to someone. But whoever made that call deserves to be fired. They have to be. Like, also then it puts like Chappell in such a bad look, right? Because like all the Babyface fans, you know, there's some asshole out there like blaming Chappell for this.
I think that's what I saw was that it was like people
That's
are like
not fair.
pitting that.
Of course
like,
it's
where
not
it's like,
fair.
No,
but,
she
like-
did not do any. She literally was just existing.
But like whoever like Babyface was in a mid sentence.
yeah.
He was just like, "Hey,
Yeah.
what's your favorite day of the week?" And he was like, "Let me tell you why Monday is." And he was just getting into like 0.3, and they just
My
said, "Get the
heart.
fuck out of the way."
It was rude.
He was so respectful about it though.
he was. Every time he
Mhm.
closes his eyes.
What are you supposed to do though? Like, well, Babyface, he couldn't like be like, I'm talking.
No, I loved how he handled it.
Yeah.
He handled it very graciously.
yeah, the reporters
gratefully.
need to ask him, when can I see you again?
So true. Sorry, we're throwing around Babyface references. My mom loves Babyface.
Is there any chance? No, that would be somehow blaming Chappell.
A collaboration?
What?
Well, Chappell has been proven to be a bit prickly on the red carpet. So like maybe they were just like, "Ooh, this is our only moment to get Chappell," because like, well, what if she doesn't come?
Then
back?
they don't get Chappell.
No, yeah, I get it.
I feel like it's more so she would have been like, don't scream my name like that in front of Babyface.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't scream at me on
They're
the
like,
carpet.
In front of Babyface.
Oh, that made me so
Like, sorry,
angry.
she couldn't hear us because we didn't want to yell. We were whispering.
Anyway, we got a great episode for you lined up today. But before we let you know all about that, don't forget to listen to the Going Deeper episode with Carl Racky. That dropped yesterday for all you Summer House fans out there, or just Bravo fans in general. Really enjoyed getting to know Carl. It was a lovely,
It was a great
lovely
episode, yeah.
interview. You know, I really I really appreciate it, especially when we think someone like it might be too afraid to come on.
I think he was very open,
He
was awesome.
vulnerable,
He was great.
honest,
I really feel like I got to know the guy.
right?
I have so much respect for him.
And he looks great.
He looks fantastic. Yeah.
Very tall.
He's really been through a lot.
Very tall.
And
Certified hot.
I was waiting for the married woman to say it.
you want to jump?
you
You
think
want to
he's
jump
hot?
Carl's bones?
Did you not?
No, well, he's
Not
I
jump his
mean,
bones.
objectively hot.
He's hot.
He told me he liked my Steelers jacket
Mm.
because he's from Pittsburgh, and I was like, okay.
He was so kind and
Thank
so
you.
sweet. I think we all got a little like, okay,
I
hi,
saw
Carl.
a lot of comments were confused by like his jean cut on the bottom because it was like yoga, but also kind of boot cut, but
I
also like
liked it.
flare.
It was
So
a little flared.
little
It was
bag.
a little.
It was given
it wasn't-
fashion.
Yeah.
I was
It
gonna say,
wasn't bagged.
But it was also-
Okay, David
It was a
Bowie.
flare.
but also skinny jeanish.
It was skinny flare.
Yeah.
but isn't it like kind of hard for tall guys to shop?
Wasn't he like known as like skinny jean queen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
he's-
with
I say good
a
for him
cuff.
for branching out, and that's without a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
But he is fucking.
Yeah, it's fucking- well,
Period.
My
He gets
favorite
into
part.
all that in that episode.
yeah, I gotta say, I give a lot of credit to a middle-aged man. I say that as one myself who got outside of the skinny jeans without a girlfriend.
You didn't.
I know.
No.
Exactly. It took you shaming me. You know.
She said, "What are those?"
It's
Still,
like, woo, those are
They're
tight.
still.
Those are tight.
Mhm.
I can see your veins through your jeans. We should probably change. Only
But-
one of us.
And I got big old meaty thighs, and sometimes,
Nick has a booty and and some thighs.
sometimes it was like
You don't need to
ooh.
look like a gymnast.
Yeah,
It really
he
was.
It's giving Simone.
It was a pair of like
Yeah.
tights for sure.
I was
Pole
always.
vaulter.
I was sticking
Leggings.
it. I was sticking it. sticking
I'm
the
just
landing.
imagining you in those jeans.
Well, Maddi Reese from Southern Hospitality is joining us in a little bit, and then Rebecca Minkoff from RHONY will be joining us. We started watching the reunion.
We gave up on the rest of the season, but started on the reunion.
Sometimes that's all you need to do.
I was like, the season was so slow that I'm like, I think the reunions were so good that by the end of the second reunion, I was like, I actually don't want any of the cast members to be replaced, and I'm kind of curious to see what happens next.
Ooh,
Right?
yeah.
We've been excited to talk to Rebecca. I didn't know what to expect going into like booking her,
Mm-hmm.
and then we watched last night's episode. I wasn't anticipating like asking much about the Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a little even uncomfy to say, you know.
Wonder why.
There's a cloud be like. huh?
Scientology in the room with us.
Yes.
Anyway, we were
probably.
like, "Hey, listen,
Probably
we're
they
not that interested in like, I'm not here to like interrogate people about their religion. We don't talk about religion on this show."
Right.
But then like she walked out, and it was just 10 minutes of them talking about Scientology. So I don't really know where we're going with this. So we shall see. My big thing is someone who was raised Catholic. I have a lot of great experiences from growing up Catholic, great memories, but I can acknowledge that the Catholic Church has their sins, and there's some people in positions of power in the Catholic Church who don't deserve to be, or who have done some very terrible things, and I can acknowledge that as a Catholic person. And I think sometimes the struggle people have with Scientology is that like there are some serious accusations about people in that community, and people have some questions. And when the people have these questions, they're like,
It's really helped me with my communication skills.
I can give you a book recommendation,
saying?
and you should read it for yourself and see
Yeah.
what conclusions you come to.
So it's like, it's a little tricky. Anyways, we have Rebecca Minkoff on later, and we'll see how it goes. She seems like a really nice person, though.
She does, and I do have some questions about like how she feels about the cast after the fact, and
It seems like they hate her.
Mhm.
well, and it was also announced that
They
she's
think
not
she's
coming back, or
boring.
that she was fired from this cast of RHONY.
That was not a group of women who think she's boring. And they may think she's boring, but when she walked out there
That's true.
on that reunion, they all hated her.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got done roasting her and then like blaming her for the prank, they were just like, all right, you can leave now. And then, like,
It was kind of awesome.
but it felt very mean.
It
Yeah,
did.
it was.
It felt
it was,
mean, girl. It
It
felt
was
bully.
very mean.
It felt mean.
She deserves some empathy.
Is it because of Scientology?
I think it's a mixture of things. I think it's also the fact that like she wasn't as forthcoming or open about the Scientology, but also because it's like there was the clip where she said she was using this as a platform to like promote her business. So I'm like, maybe she wasn't being as forthcoming and authentic even in downtime moments.
I don't understand how people can be upset with her for not sharing about Scientology when Jenna Lyons doesn't open up about anything.
Fair point.
Fair.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a religion to her. Why does she have to open up about her religion? And Jenna Lyons doesn't have to open up about any personal parts of her own life.
And piggybacking off of what you just said, I'm also kind of like, I feel like there's so many other like conversations that could have been had with her about her family, about her. I know nothing about her relationship, her kids, how she grew her business. So I'm like, there's a lot that could have been shared that also wasn't, and nobody wanted to explore outside of.
Right.
I feel like it's Voldemort.
That's where I think she needs empathy. And I agree where she said, like, I was used for a storyline specifically for something, and that this was not the place for me to even share what I believe, because it was immediately, regardless of what I would say, be criticized.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we have some questions. For
Yeah,
her.
I think Bravo did use her.
I agree.
But
So I'm
that's what-
excited to chat with her.
But that's what housewives do.
That's what they do.
And it's like,
I know,
yeah.
but they used her not like they use everyone else.
You're right about the Jenna Lyons thing. Jenna Lyons gets a pass that's starting to irritate me.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved her this reunion, though. I was like, I haven't heard her speak up and like kind of combat with other people, be combative with other people the way that she was this way, where she was like, even with Brynn or anybody, she was like, no, this is inherently wrong. So it was like, it was nice to hear her speak up and actually have an opinion on things.
Oh, well, we'll get into RHONY a little bit later when we have Rebecca on. We also have Maddi Reese from Southern Hospitality. Excited to chat with her.
what is this Reese Witherspoon stuff?
So basically, Reese Witherspoon did an interview with People where she said that she mistakenly roasted her friend at a very serious awards ceremony. She said, "It literally haunts me." So this friend of mine who I didn't really know that well, but she was a very serious, proper actress. She asked me to give her an award. I had never been to this award ceremony. So I thought it was like a roast. So I got up and I roasted her. She said the event was British, elegant, and classy, so it's the BAFTAs, and that she got the tone completely wrong while cracking jokes in her speech. Apparently, Reese said in her speech, "Remember that time we got laser hair removal?" And she is still embarrassed about it. And the actress is no longer friends with her and stopped talking to her afterwards. People thought it was Kate Winslet. Reese then posted on her Instagram story and said it's not Kate Winslet.
And you think it's Kate Blanchett.
I mean, we don't spread rumors on this show, so.
Well, we can speculate. Reese is putting it out there.
That's true.
Maybe a Kate Blanchett. I don't know.
Kate Blanchett. But Kate Blanchett I feel like, has a good sense of humor.
And it says that she presented to Kate Blanchett at the Golden Globes. So that's,
A famously non-classy event.
This can't be hard to figure out.
I mean, the only one I'm seeing right now is Kate Winslet at the BAFTAs 2007. But they're saying
I wonder
that's
if
not
people
the
just
truth.
figured it out so fast that Reese was like, nope, keep
No.
working,
We're
not
still
her.
friends.
No. Yeah.
Can't be her.
Yeah. She's definitely like
She didn't think anyone would figure it out, and then they did
She
in
was
5
like, "Oh,
seconds,
fuck."
and she was like,
And
no,
then
no, no, no,
She
no.
goes, "Oh no, it's happening again."
now Kate Winslet really hates her because everyone loves Reese Witherspoon and the way she tells the story from her POV. Even I'm kind of get over it, Kate.
But then
you know?
maybe from the other POV, it's like you worked really hard in this like really serious dramatic
No,
role.
I get it.
And this girl that you don't know super well, this American like Southern woman comes in at this British award show. Everyone's really stuffy, and then starts talking about laser hair removal. You're like, oh my god.
Why isn't Reese getting notes? Like, why is Reese winging it? Like, why
I don't
isn't anyone
know.
being like, hey,
They're like, just go up there and say what you feel.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
Do you have a speech? Should we put on the teleprompter? No one was like, oh my god, she's just.
Go
We
to
don't do
Rogue.
that here.
Yeah,
oh my
I
God.
don't know. I've never watched the BAFTAs,
Is she
so I don't
referencing
know
her
how
vagina?
they work.
My whole thing is that I'm like,
Vagina?
all you could have said was it was at an award show at some point or a very fancy ceremony, but like you literally gave like it's a British
elegant, classy.
elegant award
Just say
ceremony.
the person's name, Reese.
It's
at this point.
Googleable. You gave us all the hints.
Say it with your chest.
Mm.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be mad. Though.
Stars are just like us. Marcus Jordan apparently just really upset he's not on Traitors anymore. Got a DUI. He arrested for cocaine possession and was singing on his way to jail.
Not
Okay.
connected to Traitors.
Not connected to creators.
Well, I was speculating is
Yeah.
what he said. Because Marcus Jordan was on Traitors last season with his ex-girlfriend, Larsa.
I
This is a fear for us, darling.
What is a fear for us?
I'm just saying, like, I think we work really hard and aspire to be good people and be the leaders in our lives. And we both come from a lack of privilege in a lot of ways in our upbringing, and I think that has shaped us.
But we've also made mistakes in life, and maybe this is just Marcus Jordan making a mistake in life. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, yeah. But his dad is a billionaire, and
But that doesn't mean he can't make mistakes.
true. I'm just saying.
I mean, I definitely think anyone who is getting arrested for a DUI deserves
Criticism?
100%. Yeah, DUI. I mean, you're putting other people's lives at risk.
I just think it's tough to tough to
He
be very
admitted
successful.
to drinking at a gentleman's club earlier in the evening, did not undergo a breathalyzer test, did not perform well on the 3-field sobriety test. After he was placed under arrest, Jordan had his pocket searched, with cops reportedly finding a substance testing positive for cocaine. He was reportedly singing the entire way to jail. Page 6 confirmed that Marcus's bond was set at $4,000. That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
That's
like
it.
much.
You get arrested for DUI and cocaine, and they're like, yeah, sure, $4,000.
I mean, it's also
Probably
Florida,
possession.
state by
Yeah.
state. I was like,
Yeah.
here,
True.
minimum 10,000 just for like the first offense.
It was in Orange County, Florida, which is like Orlando.
Do you think he calls his dad?
He's
And
34
says,
years old.
Dad, I just got arrested. Can you bail me out?
I'm sure he calls his dad's assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them.
Jim, I did it again. Can you come get me? That's what I mean. To be singing on the way to jail, like you're not worried about anything.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is returning as Buffy the Vampire Slayer in a reboot. Very excited about this.
Did you
So
watch it?
excited.
It really shaped me as a young man.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Buffy.
Buffy. Okay, well, besides Buffy, obviously.
I honestly don't. I didn't watch it like a lot. I
Okay.
probably wasn't allowed to at the time in my life, but I did have the hots for her. for
Mhm.
sure.
Sarah Michelle Gellar or Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Was it? Okay.
In her heyday?
Wow.
I just think it was funny that she said, it's funny, I always used to say no to the reboot because it's in a bubble and it's so perfect. But watching Sex in the City, meaning watching And Just Like That.
That made her want to do it?
Yes!
And Dexter.
Which
Interesting.
and Dexter, because Dexter's getting a reboot. Uma Thurman's going to be in it.
Dexter has had a reboot.
It's getting another one.
Another one?
Huh?
Or
They're-
just a
he's
second,
still-
or
he's
just
still-
another
I
he's
think
season
it's an
still
of Uma
origin
Thurman?
season. Or like a
Well,
like
the
an
origin
story.
season's out already.
Okay.
That has Christian Slater. There's
I-
another one?
There's another one with Uma Thurman.
I'll tell you what, as someone who was a big Dexter fan back in the day,
Mhm.
and then it really fizzled out, and then they did like the one where he came back. That was that was okay.
I don't know.
That was a pretty good season because the last season of Dexter was terrible.
Yeah.
And then one where he like came out and he was like, it was years later, and they're like, let's redo the ending. That was pretty decent. But this kind of now where it's just like younger Dexter, it hasn't really popped. Let's just say they keep trying to bring out Dexter stuff, and none of it really pops.
Well, it looks like Michael C. Hall is returning as Dexter Morgan June 2025 in Dexter Resurrection.
Dexter.
Oh my God.
And Uma
Resurrection.
Thurman is playing the
Obsessed
head of
with him.
security for a mysterious billionaire.
Ooh. I love an Uma Thurman project.
Oh, she's gonna be a killer. I already know the ending.
No,
He
she's
kills Uma at
Oh
the
yeah,
end.
a former special ops officer who works for the billionaire Leon Traitors.
He's gonna kill her.
What are your guys' favorite reboots? Do you have one?
I guess The Hills. The only one that watched the new beginning or the beginning.
The one
again.
or two seasons that existed of
the
it.
one season they came
Has
back.
a reboot worked?
I like the Chucky reboot with Aubrey Plaza, but no one else did.
Again, so has a reboot worked?
I mean, but Chucky's on its like what, fourth season?
Chucky
Oh,
worked.
there's the Chucky
Yeah.
TV show, but that's horror. I don't think horror counts. as
Sutton
reboot
was in
stuff.
the TV show.
Is that really a
Jennifer
reboot?
Tilly.
Yeah.
Well, horror
Extension.
like is always repeating itself, so I
Sure.
feel like that doesn't count. I love And Just Like That as well.
You do?
Yes,
She's
It-
alone.
You
it
would.
feels like
Truly.
it feels like a Muppet TV show.
No, I tried to watch it and I was like,
It's horrible.
let me preserve what I
My
love.
brain cells.
Yes.
Real Gen Quest is what's going on with Paige and Craig.
Dude,
I think it's clear.
It's clear, but like the story just keeps
It's
escalating.
that's the thing. It presented as clean and civil. It's becoming less than.
No, Paige.
no, it makes pretty clear sense to me.
But there's
They
Yeah.
broke up in November
uh-huh.
at Thanksgiving.
Okay, I didn't
And they
know
were-
that.
Yep. They broke up Thanksgiving weekend. They were like, let's just they did what no one else is clearly doing in the social media celebrity platform world, a la Matt James, Rachel, Zach Bryan, Brown Chicken Fry. And they took some time, right? They were like, we're not going to announce it. Let's just process whatever.
Craig went on Watch What Happens Live back in December. And it was that whole thing where they played the montage in Southern Charm and on Watch What Happens Live about how he's notorious for lying in the past, to which he responds, like, I never lie. Come to find out, Paige releasing this, saying that the whole time he was talking about the plans him and Paige had for Christmas, knowing that they were broken up. So it kind of points out the fact that it's no, you were actually in the act of lying during this Watch What Happens Live while being called a liar and saying you never lied.
I think that's probably more so him being on a national TV show, put on the spot, and him and his girlfriend are broken up. They haven't announced it to the world, and they're asking like what his plans are with his girlfriend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna just be at my house." Like he's like, "I don't. Is this the place to announce that we're broken up?"
I feel like had he gone on Watch What Happens Live and been like, "Well, actually, we're broken up," the internet would have crucified him and like accused him of something very similar to a Matt James, which is just like, "Well, did Paige know you were gonna say?" And then Paige could go out and be like, "I had no idea he was going to tell everyone, and I was at the dinner when my phone started blowing up and Page 6 started like releasing articles that we were broken up, and like WTF."
It kind of sounds like no matter what, someone was going to be unhappy, because at the end of the day, now she's going on clarifying that she agreed with Craig to not talk about it. She saw pictures of him out on a New Year's trip and was like, well, if we're going to be presenting single, I'm going to announce it.
And then he never responded to that text that she sent him saying she wanted to announce it.
And then also Kyle and Amanda, they did an interview where they were like, he should have stood up for her when all these rumors were coming out of like infidelity and stuff. And then Craig unfollowed Kyle and Amanda.
I think Craig's stance on that was like, I'm just not talking about the breakup at all. I think he was like, I'm going to say my one piece and then I'm not going to continue talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know. I think it's valid on both sides. It's like, seems pretty.
It's just like starting to get like when Kyle and Amanda, when other people start giving their opinion, like clearly at first they were trying to like be civil and non-drama, but like it's giving people are trying to win the breakup. Like they do keep.
Well, I think friends
leaking.
just want to be involved. Friends want to make
Maybe so.
Headlines. Friends want to, and people ask friends because they know
they do
like.
get asked, yes.
Yeah, I also get it because I feel like it's relatable. Like I've gone through like a breakup, and then like when I started dating or something, like I didn't post about it or anything like that because it was just like out of respect for the past relationship. I was trying not to, but I'm also kind of like, it's a little delusional, I guess, in the sense of being two people that are public figures on shows that are airing right now, that it's like, and people were speculating about the breakup.
Someone's gonna get hurt regardless. It's breakup. Someone's feelings are gonna get hurt. Someone's not gonna handle it the right way. Someone's gonna do something that pisses someone. Like it's a breakup. You can't like handle it perfectly. So
Yeah, I
the
agree.
fact that it's like,
I don't know why they're coming for
speculation.
Craig though.
I think it's just, I don't know. I think the whole thing was just should have just been, all breakups, just rip the Band-Aid off.
I don't know. Miss Pat's coming for Paige though, because Miss Pat like responded to a clip of the podcast where Paige was talking about it and said, "Watch her on the next episode of Southern Charm," which is like, yeah, they weren't broken up when they were filming. Of course,
They're
she's in
gonna
the
fight.
show. Like, and that
gonna be
made me
weird.
giggle.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be weirder for them personally. I'm like,
Because they have to watch it back.
you have to like watch your relationship disintegrate, I guess.
Well, Taylor thinks Craig and Rachel should date.
I was like the
But she
internet.
asked like
She was asked. She was asked if she saw like the whole blow up of it. And she's like, well, I thought Rachel's a sweet girl. Like Craig should, you know.
So okay, that's.
And then she went on to just say like Craig's probably with the next person going to settle down because he's going to look for someone that's actually ready to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I wish him the best.
that makes a lot of sense.
Denise Richards, her new show trailer. Did you see it?
Yes.
What is it called again?
Denise and the Wild Things.
And her wild.
Her Wild
And her
Things.
wild
Oh,
It's a great title.
It's a good title. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you think how many of the Beverly Hills Housewives are jealous? Because she has her own show. She was able to get a spinoff that's like she's the focal point of.
They used half the cast of Beverly Hills.
Yeah. A
Mhm.
lot of people were saying, what's the point of doing it if they're all on her show? Like, just bring her back to Beverly Hills Housewives. But it's like,
No, it's like
No.
Denise is in control. I love it.
I
Yeah.
respect it.
She's the focal point.
She said, bravo, bravo, bravo. And they said, here's a show.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm really happy for you, Justin.
When does that come out?
March
March
4th.
4th.
March 4th. When does The Valley come out?
Unclear. They
Soon.
TBD.
Bravo's been doing this thing recently where they're like, coming soon. And it's them announcing it, but then it doesn't come out for like another 4 or 2 months. But you
When
don't
did it
know
come out
until-
last year?
March 19th, 2024.
So maybe it'll be March again.
Yeah, the teaser for the season was released January 17th. The first look was released on February 27th, and the premiere date was announced March 19th. So three months? 3 months?
Yeah. We'll probably know 2 weeks before it airs. That's what they did with Beverly
Yeah,
Hills.
I'm going to guess May.
I'm excited. I love the Valley.
Mhm.
And I also saw a photo that Kristen posted yesterday, and she just looks great, and I just love her. I always
Okay.
love to give a shout out to Kristen.
In other Beverly Hills news, Lisa Rinna has addressed Lisa Vanderpump's rumored return to Beverly Hills. During a podcast appearance, Lisa said, "I heard that Vanderpump might return. They're always looking to save the show. They know it's the Titanic. I'm just going to say it, and we all know it's the fucking Titanic. And so I would imagine that they're courting the shit out of Vanderpump right now because, like, who else? They know I'm not going back."
Has she been asked?
She said she has, and I mean, people have been saying bring back some of the OGs. Rena's not an OG, but she was like an iconic housewife.
Well, I mean, I will say after last night's episode,
It is turning into a snooze fest.
yeah.
You want somebody to smash a wine glass and hold it up and say, "Never talk about my husband like that again."
Well,
Yes.
it started with this whole like montage of PK and Dorit.
It was kind of sad.
Yeah.
But like, why? What?
Because PK then like told the girls at Kathy Hilton's little tea party or whatever that he's like threatening to sue her for like full custody. He's like gonna pull all of his money.
Wants her to like be able to afford the house on her own, like the whole thing. Like, and it's like, oh, the whole 10 years in California thing. I just learned about this year, so I thought it was interesting. It ended up on Beverly Hills. But it's like in California, when you make it past 10 years in a marriage, it doesn't matter if you had, what are the things you sign? Like prenups, all that stuff. Everything is 50-50 communal property if you decide to split. PK divorcing her at like 9.5 years, like it's giving icky. It's giving like, I want to get out before I have to be taking care of you for the rest of my life.
Well, yeah. And now finding out that, because what you say, yeah, he's threatening financials, expectations within a month or two, discussion of custodies, lawyers, threats of divorce.
Like it sounds like he's trying to like expedite the process as much as possible to be like, I want you to prepare yourself that I will not be taking care of you or the family. Whatever is mine, and we'll figure this out legally.
That's what happens when you marry a guy who wears a full tracksuit.
Amen. You were right.
Yeah, I do appreciate Erica in this position. Like, she was just hard truth. She's like, you can hate me for what I'm about to say, but like, this is what you need to hear.
Oh, I got a little chills with that too, because it is true. Like sometimes you want people to be so direct and honest, and Erica actually presented it being like, listen, I'm just going to give you the hard, cold facts.
So there's
You
no
need to lawyer up.
there's no reconciliation, huh?
It does not
Do you
appear
think
that he wants
PK
that.
just like saw Mo's life and was just like, I want some of that? Because it's really giving, like, they're really cryptic about Mo and Kyle. And like
if he thinks he's on the same level as Mauricio, he needs to back it up.
They also did an interview like a month ago, Mauricio and PK. So like, it's interesting that it's like they're teaming up as like the husbands that were married to the housewives, but then PK the whole time is kind of like, I didn't like the way she handled sobriety and the conversations about me. Like, she's spinning it.
They're in cahoots.
I would think so. Yeah.
I mean, because Kyle and Mauricio's divorce is giving like Mauricio finally made the decision.
But if PK thinks he's going to be on the top of a mountain in Aspen with Anita, like, it's just not going to happen.
Champagne bottles.
I forgot
Just
about
saying, do we all agree about the Mauricio and Kyle's divorce though? It's like, it's giving like he kind of like had a lifestyle that she accepted for a period of time, and she decided to stop accepting it, and he just refused to change.
I mean, I also think it might have something to do with like, you know, the kids grew up, and it's like
Sure.
once kids grow up and are out of the house, it's like focus is now back on us, and it's like, is our relationship as strong as it was when we were
Yeah,
having these kids?
But as
And
we were
maybe they
watching
just
it,
weren't.
like there's, you know, it's sad because there's clearly a lot of love there. There's a lot of respect. They still hang out together. They have a family together. But there's a choice that they're making to not reconnect, to not,
Yeah.
you know, they gave up, or one of them gave up, or both of them gave up. I don't know. It's giving Mauricio gave up first.
I'm just saying, I feel like if it's an either or, I feel like there's a better chance that Kyle and Mauricio could reconcile than PK and Dorit at this point.
Well, PK's has gotten real nasty.
Mhm.
And at least Mo presents as someone who like
is compassionate.
is compassionate and like still like wants to protect his family, where
He answers Kyle's text.
They go on
Mhm.
vacation and sleep in the same house. Like PK's over here, like not answering a phone call, not caring about where his kids are. Like PK can go fuck himself.
I did see a fan theory that Kyle and Dorit are feuding because they wanted to do that to distract the group of people from dissecting their marriages. Because like they're deflecting with like, this is such a toxic friendship. So people are being more supportive when it comes to the marriage conversations instead of like,
But what
digging-
happened in your marriage?
instead of digging into like, let's pull the
Mm.
marriage apart, because now they're just pulling the friendship apart.
Well, Dorit's at least kind of opening up and being honest about what happened with her and PK, whereas Kyle is just letting everybody go in a million directions
You're
and
right.
not actually saying what's
yeah,
happening.
that's totally true. Like Dorit is not really hiding much about PK.
Mm-mm.
Like where Kyle, like we've never really known what happened. They just stopped hanging out, kind of.
You're saying with Kyle?
Kyle and Mauricio, you know, like he's in a lot of scenes and he takes her to the gun range and they're nice and they get along really great, where you're just always, every time they do that, you're like, why can't they make it work out? You know, like
Mhm.
how sad.
It's like there's one big thing they're not telling us.
And there's always a lot of speculation about like who Kyle's hanging out with, and Mauricio is being seen, in Aspen and stuff like that.
And then Kathy Hilton's the confusing part, because then she does interviews every 2 seconds being like, well, I think they'll be back together soon. Like they might get back together soon.
Well, Kathy also
it's like
says she's part Chinese 3000 BC.
Listen, anything Kathy says, I want to hear.
Me too.
She puts caviar on her baked potatoes, and that was enough for me to be like, I'm set.
Were you in any way offended by claiming that she's...
I'm not Chinese.
But just Asian descent?
Asian, yeah.
I mean, anything she does, I'm like, she's a character where it's like you can say something crazy and you know that they don't know what they're saying, but also like they don't mean it in a harmful way.
Yeah.
Like she's just being goofy, and I'm sure some person in Italy did tell her like...
Which is, for some people, like just as good as 23andMe.
I loved her on
I don't totally trust 23andMe.
I loved her on FaceTime with Bose being like, are those puka shells? And Bose being like, they're diamonds.
The fact that Bose gagged Kathy Hilton is huge.
Yeah.
The way that she tried to be like, yeah, no, baby, they're diamonds. Like, she's like trying to be like, do I say, yeah?
Like, put your glasses on.
Confusing diamonds for puka shells. But also like, how large were they?
Yeah, truly.
I just love that we've been to Kathy Hilton's backyard.
We have.
You
we laid in her bed.
What?
No, we didn't.
What? Did you think Erica had a right to be upset about not being invited to Augusta?
Of course not. But they always do.
They always do, right?
I mean, I do feel like she is kind of in that group just as much as Garcelle and Kyle.
True. I was
like,
more so confused about her calling Kyle to invite her for something so personal, where like the week before she comes to dinner, it was like, okay, so why am I here?
I'm not going to bow down to the altar of Kyle Richards.
And then it was like, I want you to come to this very personal interaction with my mom.
What's her mom?
That was a piece of work.
She's a hoot.
I feel bad for her mom, though. I'm like, we're using her as a storyline. I mean, maybe she's like chaotic, but I'm like, I don't want to see her mom come on the screen and get humiliated by like...
How was she humiliated?
Have you seen the teaser for next episode? I'm like, it's Garcelle like telling her mom that she needs to be like more involved, and her mom being like, well, I think it's none of your business.
Yeah, well,
period on
just
her
like
mom.
Period.
Yeah.
On
But like
her
the
mom.
editing is making her mom seem so harsh.
her mom also has free will, so her mom didn't.
Her
have
mom
to
is
be a part
also
of the
what,
show.
like 85?
Yeah,
She don't give a fuck.
she's not
True.
changing anytime soon. Does not give a fuck what anybody thinks of her.
Yeah. But
And
also...
she did show up.
Yeah.
But also, that is sad
unreleased.
that they have to go to her mom for a storyline and they can't figure it out between the housewives themselves.
Yeah.
Sutton's like, sure, yeah, let's put my harsh mom on television to get crucified by the world.
But also, let's flex on our compound.
Yeah.
Those
Beautiful
houses.
house. Yeah, wow.
The little back house was gorgeous.
There's like multiple houses. Did you ever see Righteous Gemstones?
Yes.
That whole like how all of the family lives in like houses all on the same property. Like that's what that reminded me of, and it was really cute.
Well, when you're making $600,000 a month after tax, was it after taxes or
Think
before after?
300.
50,000 a month
After taxes.
after taxes.
After, yeah.
Yes.
Alimony.
Crazy. Crazy. But yeah, so Beverly Hills is getting boring. So they have to go to Sutton's poor mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, like, to circle back to your question, last season was Sutton and Garcelle welcoming Erica in, and this season they're just ignoring that, which is interesting.
I feel like Bose is getting the most camera time, and I'm here for it. So I'm just like, whatever comes out of her mouth, I'll listen.
Also, Erica's won me back over.
Pivoting back to Traitors, what's going on with Carolyn? Is she slams Danielle, like physically?
Body slam WWE style.
Can we end with, here's a pet peeve of mine, the headline that includes slams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say, though, this one, like, to me,
Just misleading headlines in general.
But the quote saying, like, she
Slams?
sucks. Like, that's not a slam.
this is a headline that I actually support the word slam, because to me, I'm like, okay, she did say some, like, straight up, like, no BS stuff, where she said, like, in response to the feud with Danielle, you're gaslighting me. I am not the most eloquent speaker. I am not always listened to, but it doesn't help when you have somebody looking down on you, side-eyeing you, talking just the way she did. No one wants to be the Dan of the season, but girl, you're Danning me. I don't give a shit about looking the best. I have not played Survivor multiple times. I am a 0-vote fucking finalist. I don't claim to be a great player. I'm good in my own freaky way, but she holds that to such a high standard of like, I'm the best to never win. Grow up. So to me, that's like a slam.
What is with all these people who, like, I guess take pride in the game? I mean, like, the gamers? Like, I don't
Survivor players. Yeah.
The gamers,
Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
like, that's the weird flexing and bragging about, like, I guess. I mean,
It's big on Survivor and Big Brother because they have legacies. They have people like Boston Rob is like a name from Survivor history. So they take a lot of pride in being like good gamers and legends from these shows.
But they're also very ego about it because then you have like MJ getting played by Trishelle and CT, and it's like the gamers are then thinking they're better than the other people and then playing the other people. But I mean, it's interesting because this is a gamer versus a gamer, Danielle versus
but aren't they
Carolyn.
doing TikToks together?
And then they're also doing TikToks together with like
So
Dylan
it's all
Efron.
a bit. Everything is
Yeah.
fake. Everything in this world is fake.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
believe
it's all
anyone
fake.
when they say anything.
Well, I think it's with Traitors. I think they're all actively, with the way they're all interacting with each other and online throughout as the season's going, they're just leaning in.
If I go on Traitors, should I just like create a complete alter ego? Just could be absolutely
Yes.
insane.
Yes.
It's like, is this a game?
Yeah, it wasn't me.
I'm a gamer.
Gamer.
I did come from the Bachelor
You should just
competition.
make
You'll
it-
wear skinny jeans.
Yeah, you could wear skinny
I've gotten the most
jeans.
roses in Bachelor history, which I'm pretty sure I have.
I'm the finalist.
Period.
I'm sure someone's gonna find where
That's
someone
really
else has gotten more.
I doubt it.
Just be like the Bachelor, but the most competitive.
I doubt it. No one's given more roses or been handed more roses than you on The Bachelor.
When I was the Bachelor, there we did a bit where I like read off how many rose ceremonies I've, all that.
Oh,
stupid
like
shit.
statistics,
Yeah.
Bachelor
Like
statistics.
Bachelor stats. or
Batch
whatever.
stats.
But I definitely don't wear it with pride.
How many times did you say, "Are you here for the right reasons"?
None.
None.
Yeah,
How many times did you reference your journey?
too many. I do.
How many
remember-
times did you say my wife is in this room?
Zero.
Oh,
Ooh.
Zero.
we love that.
Oh,
Zero.
really? You didn't say that? You didn't say, I see
Refused.
my wife in this room?
Refused. Yeah.
He knew.
Yeah.
It is a very cringy line.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely
Well, they
tried to
say
get
it
me
in
to say it one episode, and I was just like, I forgot what I came up with, but I see potential here.
I feel like they bait you. They're like, "So is your wife in this room
no,
right
they
now?"
literally tell you to say it.
And you're like, "No."
Define
That's why
room.
it's literally episode 2. I mean, think of it. Go back on all the Bachelor seasons. It's like episode 2 or 3. They walk in and like, I can really see my wife in this room.
And they're like, but like, what direction is she? And like, what do you think she's wearing right now? Like, red.
Give us color, yeah.
black.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely said something I didn't mean, but like, I didn't say that.
Good.
Yeah.
Because she's in the room with us now.
Hmm.
Mm,
Indeed.
mm.
Indeed.
But I didn't know
Yeah,
that
he hates
then.
me.
Of course not.
He hates me.
Huh?
Indeed.
Oh, by the way, don't forget to check out Viall Files Plus. You can sign up for it by going to viallfiles.com, or if you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, you can sign up right from that platform directly. It's free to sign up, get a free 7-day trial, your Vanderpump recaps, your Pop Extra weekly roundup, as well as your update specials of all the updates from some of your favorite callers, all that and more on Viall Files Plus. Be sure to check that out. All right, up next, Maddi Reese from Southern Hospitality. Lots of burning questions to ask Maddi on if you're not watching Southern Hospitality and you loved Vanderpump Rules, what are you doing? You're missing out. One of the worst things in our traditional big wireless carriers is they always seem to be after your money, whether it's the bogus hidden fees or their free perks that actually end up costing more in the long run. If you're sick of overpaying for wireless and crazy high wireless bills, switch to Mint Mobile.
Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. You can ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. There are few things in this world that cost $15 a month. Mint Mobile does.
If you like money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/VIALL. It is mintmobile.com/VIALL. Upfront payments for $45 for 3 months, 5 gigabyte plan required, of equivalent to $15 a month. New customers offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. It's common to think upgrading your style means spending a fortune, but with Quince, you get the high-quality, versatile pieces at prices that won't break the bank. And I want to emphasize the versatility in this, the variety that Quince has, because if you know what it's like to just kind of go shopping at the mall and like it just feels like it's just all one store. It's just like all the same stuff. It's like, is there any variety here? Why can't I get like something that really has some like character to it?
You can also just invest in pieces that last, which I feel like is so important, to just ditch the fast fashion and find pieces that are classic, that last, that are versatile. And Quince has all of the must-haves. One of my favorites is the Mongolian cashmere crew neck sweater. It's hard to find a cashmere crew neck sweater for $50, but at Quince you can, and there's nothing like a cashmere sweater.
Their iconic 100% leather jacket and versatile flow knit activewear are also must-haves for your wardrobe.
All Quince's items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands, and Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. What more could you want?
Nothing. If you're looking to upgrade your closet today, or maybe get a gift for someone in your family or a loved one, check out Quince. You will not be disappointed. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/VIALL for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/VIALL to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/VIALL.
Maddie!
Hey, how are you guys?
So good.
You look
How are you?
stunning. Are you about to shoot a cover of a magazine? What's happening?
I look like it. I'm going on Watch What Happens Live tonight, so I'm in New York right now.
Ooh, how
you
fun.
Look so pretty.
Are you from New York originally?
I actually am. I went to college at Charleston for college, and that what brought me down to South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So I'm happy to be home, but it's really good to see you guys. I actually met you guys at Kathy Hilton's Christmas party.
That was a wild time. We also met your boyfriend.
Yes, you met Joe.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He was like, so Southern hospitality is crazy. Y'all should cover it this season. And we were like, okay, we'll look into it. And
Yeah,
it definitely is crazy.
Yes, this season I feel like has gotten a lot of positive attention and everything comparative to the other seasons. So it's all positive.
How did you end up on the show in the first place?
I worked at Republic. So basically the show is about a nightclub and a bunch of coworkers that work together. So I worked there for years before the whole like casting thing kind of came about, because I went to college there. I wanted to make money while I was in college. So I got into hospitality, nightlife. And then the owner of the bar, Leva, is obviously on Southern Charm. So I feel like that's kind of how that spinoff came about.
Okay. So you are like an OG, like Vanderpump Rules, people who are actually working there. That's cool.
And then how much do you actually still work there? Or now that you are DJing and on TV, is it less of that, or do they still bring you in for shifts?
I definitely feel like there's a standard of like when you are not DJing, you need to be here working. So I feel like it's definitely, kind of cutthroat in the hospitality. Like if you're not working, then we'll find someone else that will. So I feel like with the DJing, I'm always on the road and traveling, but anytime I'm off, no matter how tired I am, I know I have to go to work at Republic,
Is that like, because if you don't work there, you will definitely be off the show?
Not necessarily. Like I feel like for a while for my DJ career, I needed the money from the restaurant to help fund my DJ career. Because it's expensive as a DJ in the sense of like equipment. Like one CDJ is like $7,000 to $8,000. Like it's an expensive hobby. So I feel like in even order like to learn how to produce music and stuff and buying like softwares for that and stuff, like I needed money to be able to invest my career. So I feel like the bar was a great outlet to make quick money,
What do you think of the kind of the dilemma going on between Joe and TJ?
I don't know. I feel like we're filming a reunion next week, so I'm excited to kind of see where they're at now. But I feel like, I don't know. Specifically, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting because it's two close friends that I feel like one caught feelings for, and I feel like it's a super dynamic, like complex relationship.
Do you feel like Joe's being kind of put in like a tough spot with TJ? Do we all agree that they agree that like Joe was blackout drunk that night?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of weird that like we're talking about someone who was blackout drunk and then like TJ's trying to get him to admit to something he doesn't allegedly even remember? I just find it to be a little uncomfy. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I feel like I'm uncomfortable by it. I don't know if I was Joe, if I would ever trust TJ again. Like first with the coming in between your relationships and being the one to kind of bring the Luann and the Danielle kind of stuff to the surface. And then you're coming to the surface saying that you have feelings for him and that you think something happened or you felt mixed signals when it was obviously kind of one-sided. Yeah, it's a little, I feel like, uncomfortable.
Didn't he tell you that TJ thought Joe was gay? Like before you started dating him or while you were dating him?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that was a rumor going around town. I think everyone on our cast has heard that rumor, one or another, about Joe's sexuality. And I feel like for Joe, he's like, I know the boiling point of this rumor is coming from TJ. Like, he's the source.
He seems like a bit of a rumor spreader, and like he spreads rumors that like are potentially like problematic or like really put someone in a tough position. Like it could affect your two's relationship.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Because you're kind of in the middle of it. It's because it is your boyfriend, but you're also friendly with TJ, and you guys got closer over the summer. So I'm like, how does that affect you? Where it's like, this is your relationship, but also your friendship.
I definitely feel like it put me in a hard spot because I don't know how close TJ and Joe necessarily were. So I'm trying to be sensitive to like both people. But after watching the season, yeah, there's a little part of me where I was like, yeah, TJ is a pot stirrer and is a little bit, messier than he leads on, or like, he might be like the bone collector and have some things to say, but like maybe sometimes 1% of the things that he's saying is just straight rumor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even 99%. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where I just think TJ is messy.
Yeah.
But for Joe, I think Joe is someone who's really comfortable in his sexuality and who he is and in his relationship. So I feel like for him, he was just like kind of like, why are you doing this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, I probably now I'm never going to sleep in a bed with you again or feel like that same closeness to you as a friend.
Right.
Because I feel this betrayal, So I see both sides, but I definitely, after watching, really feel for Joe, to be honest with you. So that's where I feel a little kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel like Joe's handled it in the best possible way where he didn't feel like threatened by TJ's claim or accusation or anything like that, and he still like was able to try to empathize with his friend because he still values that friendship with TJ.
Joe is sitting here being like, I'm comfortable in how I feel in my sexuality, and I'm gonna let you tell your story and how you feel. And if anything, I'm proud of Joe, and I think that's really brave of him, and I totally like respect and see TJ's side as well. And I think it's really brave and cool of Joe to kind of be so gentle and sensitive about the whole thing.
How are you guys doing as a couple? Stronger than ever?
Yeah, totally. I feel like Joe and we just work so well together, like whether it be in the restaurant or in our day-to-day lives. So I just feel like we've grown a lot this year. And I think you definitely see that in this season. Like, I just left a toxic relationship. So I feel like I was so hesitant about, is there such thing as a healthy relationship kind of thing? So I feel like I was so hesitant and walking kind of on eggshells, if I truly wanted to give myself in this relationship, based off the things I kind of went through.
I thought it was a really sweet moment in this past episode when you and Joe were kind of talking about your future, and Joe was like, because Joe kind of presents as like kind of this clubby, all of you obviously are at this age, you're DJing, you guys work at this like very kind of club, bar, restaurant, Republic. But it was very sweet to hear like Joe and you have that conversation about like what he really wants and what his dreams are and things like that. And then you kind of talking about that as well. I thought that was like a really sweet moment. Maybe I'm just like, again, in my like new dad husband era, but like, whenever that is, whenever you guys are like ready for that shit, I got to say it's the best time of our lives. So like maybe you and Joe are on
congratulations on all that, by the way.
Oh,
I'm so excited to be in an era of my life. It's just timing, I feel like, is everything.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I obviously waited a bit longer than most people, and I have no complaints. Natalie waited a little bit less longer, but yeah, whenever it happens, whenever you're ready, I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
And I also just have to say, after watching the first 2 seasons, it's really nice to see you in a healthy relationship, and I think it's bringing out the best in you and in Joe, because Joe's very lovable, seeing him wanting to commit to you and wanting to get married and saying all these things where you're like, Joey Bottles is saying like, Johnny, sorry, like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, it's really nice. So I'm happy for you.
Speaking of toxic relationships, what are your thoughts on Emmy and Will?
Oh, goodness.
Wait,
I
no?
almost wish it was like even like seeing it, like I wish there was a time where she kind of stood her ground with him, if anything.
Do you think it's both of them kind of just figuring out life? Do you think one's more the instigator than the other? You know, it's kind of hard to tell as a viewer. Obviously, like Emmy has her reactions, which are loud and expressive, but like, you know, Will kind of does seem like that really good instigator where even the stuff, you know, like even behind the scenes, like he kind of gives poking the bear, and then almost to the point where he pushes his girlfriend to a level of like she gets to this kind of explosive energy. But like, do you think it's more him or her, or do you think they just kind of bring out the worst in each other?
I would agree with that, but I also think that when Emmy's having those overreactions, I think she's looking for Will to be there to save her and have her back and to fend her from these rumors and stuff like that. And you're right, he's like kind of more behind the scenes, like poking at the bear instead of showing up in front of the group and saying, you know, this is my truth. And I feel like that's kind of where I think maybe Emmy is having those overreactions is she's like, Will should be here and he should be the one that's defending himself. And it's like, well, he's not. And it's giving guilty, you know, if you're not going to come and confront the group about all the things that you've done, but you're okay with talking about it behind scenes, you know, I feel like that's kind of where Emmy struggled is she was just like, I wish Will could speak on this for himself. And you know, now I have to answer for it. But at the same time, like, I feel like I kind of had to do that for my partner the past 2 seasons. And it's not easy, like having to speak on their behalf and to defend them. It's not necessarily an easy thing, but I just don't know why it was so hard for her.
Why do you feel like he's not showing up to defend himself?
Well, like I said, I feel like to me, it gives guilty vibes.
Mm-hmm. So you think he's like, I just don't even want to he's like, I don't even want to get attacked by these people because I don't have the correct answer.
Or like, I'm going to deal with Emmy and not have them be able to say, I heard you say this.
Yes.
So he gets to spin whatever story.
I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Like, peace. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
What did you learn the most from your like past relationship that you referred to as toxic? I mean, as shitty as past relationships can be, the good news is we can often like learn a little bit from it. But like, what is something that you learned or multiple things that you learned that you want to make sure you don't bring into your relationship with Joe or anyone else in the future, or just kind of behaviors you like would maybe see in a friend's relationship, or maybe you would want to say, hey, I've been there before and I made a mistake and here's what you should do differently this time?
Oh my goodness. I feel like there's so many things, but it's all a learning experience. I feel like in relationships, every time I leave a relationship, I feel like I'm like, wow, I learned so much. Oh my goodness. I'm going to bring this into my new relationship and look for these red flags. So I feel like you see that play out through the season a lot of me kind of being more hesitant about necessarily like what I want and making sure that's the priority. And I feel like in the past, I might have, you know, might have made sacrifices maybe in my relationship for my partner, or I didn't leave when I probably should have. And I don't have any regrets necessarily because of the things that I've learned. But if I do look back on it, I think that when I saw the first red flags, I wish I would have left then, you know? I mean, we'll say the same thing looking back on this one day. And I think a lot of people do, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned Kathy Hilton's party that we were all at, and that was the last time I saw James Kennedy in person, because that was also the night that he got arrested. We've been pretty hard on James. You obviously have a relationship with him. You referred to him as your mentor. Is he still your mentor? And have you spoken with him since the incident? And kind of where do you stand with him at this point?
I have not spoken to him. I've definitely checked in on Allie and want to make sure she's okay and everything like that. But I haven't spoken to him, and I wish both of them the best.
Okay. Would you say like your kind of relationship with James at this point is kind of like over, or do you think maybe in the future you guys will reconnect on the DJ tour?
I don't have any gigs or anything booked with him this year or this going forward, and I don't think I have anything planned, and I just wish both of them the best.
Okay.
Like I genuinely, I haven't spoken to him since the same night you guys saw him.
Gotcha.
So I haven't spoken to him, but I've definitely spoken to Allie just to check in and make sure she's okay. a lot of her family lives in Charleston, where
Oh.
I live. So I see them sometimes and stuff. So I always wanted to reach out and check in. And I obviously had a relationship with both of them, and I wish both of them the best.
That's nice of you. Was the Emmy blow up over the dresses credit thing as insane in person as it was on television? Or what was your perception of that reaction?
I was DJing then, so I totally just heard about it.
Okay.
And I heard it was crazy. So when I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is honestly, to me watching it, I was like, it kind of gives like guilty. Like, should I look into this? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Because I feel like the simple answer, if I was in that position, would have been like, oh no, like I didn't, like, here's the receipt
Yeah.
from the uniforms. Or I would have been like, oh, I did get a store credit kickback. Like,
Thanks.
but doesn't mean that I didn't pay for it with my credit card.
yeah.
You know?
Well, it didn't help with Will saying.
But the fact that
maybe
she
you did
didn't
do it.
explain it like that made me think like, oh, like, do I need to look into this?
Right. Yeah. To Sierra's point, Will being like, and you didn't do that was definitely the nail in the coffin for sure.
Yes.
I
I
was
just
definitely
don't
like-
think Will is
Yeah.
doing any favors.
No.
He's not.
It was definitely a storyline that
At
I didn't think it was
all.
a big deal until she lost her shit.
Well-
And then I was like, wait, what are we talking about?
Mhm.
It should have been something so small, but it's like even watching her kind of defend Will, where it's like Will sat there, not only didn't comfort you after the fact, but then spent time talking shit about you to your coworkers who are not his coworkers. I don't know. I just feel like it's unforgivable, in my opinion.
I would be really embarrassed.
Right?
Yeah.
Guess we're gonna have to ask her.
Do you and Joe live together?
We do not.
You do not.
I feel like that definitely gets talked about later on.
Okay.
Like what maybe the potential next step, if it's marriage, if it's getting a house, if it's moving in together. So you'll kind of see that play out in the rest of the season.
Who's more guilty between you and Joe of like kind of playing house and kind of fantasizing about your future? Or is it more you or is it more
Joe.
Joe?
Joe, every day. We have such a like golden retriever, I feel like black cat relationship where I'm more the realist and I feel like he's more the like fantasy romantic, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. It is
Balance.
nice. Is he with you in New York?
He is, yes.
Is
That's
he-
nice.
Is he like?
is he in the room with
is he
us?
in the room or?
Hi, Joe.
No, he
Oh.
actually went to go pick up a suit for his for the reunion. We're
Nice.
filming next week.
Oh,
Okay.
fun. Okay.
Are you filming the reunion in South Carolina or are you filming in New York?
We film in New York.
Okay.
Yes, we're doing a Watch What Happens live
Clubhouse.
reunion.
Love it.
Oh, isn't that what
Yes.
they were planning on doing that with the Valley first season? So interesting that
Oh,
I think the people in the Valley said no, but that is interesting.
I feel like they brought up cameras for the Valley, and that kind of was their reunion.
Yeah.
Like they brought up cameras, the whole breakup,
Yeah.
The
of the two
follow-up.
couples and stuff. Yeah.
What is making it in the DJ space look like for you? Like what's something you kind of envision in terms of, you know, once you're there, you'll be like, holy shit, I can't believe I did this. I've really made it.
Yeah. I think I've played at a lot of venues where I felt like, oh my God, this is a dream come true. I've made it. This week in the show, we go to Vegas for a cast trip. And I mean, I'm on the side of a billboard and such a bucket list opportunity for me. But for me now in my career, I think like I want to be an artist. I want to have music of my own and I want to release it. And I want people to be able to connect with it. Yeah. So that's kind of my next step of being like, oh, I made it, is like if people are listening to my song that I made, or if someone connects to it, you know?
That's awesome. Are you currently working on some of your own new music?
Yeah. I actually, like this season, I do a song with Grace. So that comes out, I'm pretty sure next week that comes out, that song with Grace and I that we do. It's called Poppin' It. But I basically am looking to collaborate with vocalists and people to make music. You know, I'm not necessarily like an incredible singer, but I am a very talented producer. So I'm working on becoming that artist and putting my music out there and having that confidence.
Yeah, I don't think Diplo can sing, can he?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah.
No. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so much fun chatting with you. Wishing you guys nothing but success, and we're loving the show. Keep the drama coming. It's been a ton of fun watching you guys so far. So I really appreciate your time, Maddi.
nice. Thank you so much for having me on. Like, I always watch y'all, and it was so nice seeing all of you guys again.
Likewise.
We're
Thanks for
big
taking the
fans.
time. Have fun at on Watch What Happens Live.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. What a sweetie.
What
Truly.
a sweetie.
My
Yeah.
favorite DJ.
I just think back to the Joe and TJ thing.
Mhm.
It's giving icky.
He definitely is a pot stirrer. That's for sure.
I told y'all I didn't like TJ from the jump, remember? And y'all were like, TJ's my favorite. And I was like,
I enjoy
okay.
him. I enjoy him for TV purposes, but don't necessarily.
He looks
I
Ethically-
don't. I
Like-
feel like, do we always love the pot stirrer? Like, is that, I feel like,
Yeah,
isn't
kinda.
Brynn the pot stirrer on RHONY and everyone hates her? It's like, because
I mean-
you're making up lies, you're stirring the pot, you're doing stuff to like create drama. It's the same thing TJ's doing.
But it's necessary.
I felt that way about Lisa Rinna too on Beverly Hills Housewives with Denise Richards.
Well, it's more like I generally don't like the pot stir, but I just kind of recognize that there's a pot and it needs to be stirred. I would like it to happen more organically from the cast as a whole,
right.
but I don't know that storyline that they keep milking. I'm just like
I feel like Joe handled it well,
I thought he
though,
handled it
considering the sit down
amazingly.
and
Yeah.
everything, and at least admitting to the fact that it's like that. If that was your perception, I'm sorry for that, but like obviously it did not mean anything to me. But I do think that I'm sure it's tough, especially for TJ being out in Charleston and as many people that he was saying that his dating life, it's hard to date for him out in Charleston. So I'm like, I also can understand wanting something to be true, but that not, even though it's not, and kind of embellishing in it and hoping that it could be. But I'm just like, yeah, it's your fantasy versus the reality of what happened. And if the person is telling you that it meant nothing to him, then you just have to kind of
But
accept that.
why is he getting a free pass to say all this shit and like put Joe in the position where Joe seemingly has to like explain himself or defend himself? He was blackout drunk and you weren't, and now you're telling a story, and whatever happened, like, did Joe even know what he was doing?
I mean, apparently not. So I don't know. It's a little tough just because it's like I said, it's two different people's perspectives. And then you also have somebody wanting something to happen where somebody else is like, that meant nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I also see like Taylor Green doing like TikToks and Reels with TJ, and I'm just like, Taylor,
They're besties. She was spending the night at his house on
that's-
episode 2. Yeah.
problematic. I like Taylor, and like, but Taylor in the Southern Charm community seems to be like the outsider. Like, she's not part of the like group, you know?
Right.
And like, even the comments that what's her name?
Sally.
Sally. Thank you.
Yeah.
How like kind of like the nobody likes you comment, which I kind of hate when people say that, but like, I don't know. I get, sometimes guilty by association. Like, if she's best friends with TJ and TJ's a bit of a pot stirrer, and I don't know. I would run Taylor.
It's like we can't trust anybody with initials on Bravo anymore.
Mm-mm.
TJ, JT, or maybe just
TJ?
those 2 letters.
I
Maybe.
think initials are problematic.
Yeah.
PK.
PK,
So
can't trust
true.
anybody.
PJ.
I've never been an
Jay.
initial guy.
Yeah. Envy.
That's not my name.
That's also
or my
takes
nickname.
far too long to say.
Yeah. Well, coming up shortly, Rebecca Minkoff of RHONY, Real Housewives of New York City, excited to get the tea. We found out like last night or this morning that she like announced. Well, first it was leaked a couple days ago that she was fired, and then she announced that this is her first and only season on the cast. And I got to say, I was a little shocked by the reunion. It really seemed like, as we said before, like these ladies did not like her. It felt personal.
Did it not feel weird too when you're sitting there and she like comes out, introduced, they asked her like 5 questions and then they were like, all right, well, that's our time with Rebecca. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, like they
she didn't
made
get a
it.
segment.
They
I
made
feel like
it a
typically
point.
they would go to commercial and then come back and Rebecca would be gone. But they had her be like, do I sit here? And he's like, Rebecca wants to know if she stays here or goes.
No, they made
What
it
is
a point.
this?
Yeah, they made it a point to like leave that in there and like.
Well, they usually
Put-
like softball questions, do an introduction, but it was literally like, here she is, Scientology, Aaron hates you, Cy hates you. Okay, bye.
I also hate the like, does anyone have any questions or beef they want to address with Rebecca? It's like, just ask someone a pointed question. Just be
Right.
like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
does anyone in here disagree? It's like, no one's going to be like, I do.
She definitely was set up in that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, For a slow season, as I said earlier, the reunions kind of gave me a lot to work with. I'm a fan of Zen Uba, but
I don't know.
oh, you don't know about Uba?
No, I love Uba.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with Uba. Like, I think she's the best. But this is mostly on the Brynn drama of it all, which, you know, obviously there's, you know, the fact that they throughout the whole, you know, part 2, Andy and the rest of the cast had to like make sure that they let Brynn know, like, we believe your story as it relates to what happened to you, and then simultaneously be put in a position to also have to question her. There was a part of me that like started understanding Brynn's point of view, except that it was like I was blown away by like all the like when they were kind of all going back and forth about like who said what when, and like every word out of Brynn's mouth, the entire cast was like, we didn't say that, we didn't say that, we didn't say that. I mean, it really painted Brynn as like just a compulsive liar. When you couple that with the subject in which we were talking about, it just makes it really uncomfortable to like to lump those all in together and have a discussion about it,
Right.
you know, while you're like, well, Brynn's saying all these things and all the women are like, we didn't say that, we didn't say that. You're like, what are you talking about? You're just making shit up. And then having Andy to be like, just so you know, no matter what, we believe this, but like, it's the other part we're struggling with. It was just hard to
I felt like
keep up
mentally
with.
she couldn't disconnect the two from each other
Yeah.
because she felt like all of these women hate her. So it's like that we're not denying that your story is true. It's just the other parts that go along with it, where it's like you're even still saying, I sucked a dick for this job. And it's like, that's not what Uba said, but like you're convinced that that's what she said. So it's like almost like the repetitive nature of repeating the same things, but it is very difficult to have a conversation trying to be like clarifying what's a lie and what's the truth when it's also surrounded around such a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Where I understand Brynn
hmm
is that given what happened to her, you would think she'd be allowed to have moments of, you know,
Like, for lack of a better word, messiness.
being
I mean,
triggered,
being
you know,
triggered,
to
okay.
moments of being triggered, moments of being reactive, moments of feeling out of body and saying shit and
Yeah.
maybe not remembering everything she said. You know,
I mean, Sai straight up said, you weaponize your experience for the downfall of a friend. And that is an awful thing to do. And I think that's when Brynn was like, watch your words. Like, to tell someone
It's a
that they
strong thing to
weaponize their
say.
experience is after someone has been openly talks about.
like, is it messy that Brynn was, in fact, really just messy in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
said some things that weren't totally accurate without the intention of weaponizing it to take down Uba? I understand what the women are saying. I understand like that this is a very obviously sensitive topic, and like when you make an accusation, which I guess in what Brynn is saying, that it wasn't an accusation, that it was just like, I don't know, something she was saying while being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
But it also gets confusing because, you know, when Brynn is saying like, yeah, I called Uba and I was rambling and I was saying all these things that have happened to me. And then for Uba to be like, you never said those words to me.
That's the hard part, because Uba is like dead set on like, you didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to believe Uba.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still willing to acknowledge that like Brynn thought she said that. That's
Yeah.
not that unbelievable.
Yeah.
Especially given what like Brynn has been through and like the trauma that can cause. And like having had a front row seat to people who have opened up about that, like I can at least understand that position. So it does feel like I understand where Uba is upset, but I like, yeah, how can the rest of the ladies be so sure of Brynn's intentions?
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I think it was a very like powerful moment because you have them talking about what happened and Uba pretty much saying like, I want nothing to do with you, whatever. But then it's like even any reference coming back to the experience that happened with Brynn, like Uba gets up and hugs her and wants her to say sorry and just like wants her to know that she's supported. So it's kind of like, if Uba can move on from what's happening where that's something that directly affected her, then it's like, yes, all the other women, it's like lay off a little bit, because it's just like Brynn's going through a lot. She might not handle herself well, but she also did say that she does want to learn how to be a better friend and to be more direct. So it's like all she can do is just move forward with it. But she's somebody who's had a very troubled childhood and a very troubled experience growing up. So it's like, to add insult to injury, it doesn't make any sense.
It's
Yeah.
also not really like about the other women. It's like I mean, it affects them, but who it really directly affects is like Brynn and UBA.
Mhm.
Well, that
And
was
it's
the
between the
problem
two of
too. Is
them.
like I feel like they really leaned into this topic because there's literally nothing else
Mhm.
to discuss and talk about. So now they're milking this topic that feels like it shouldn't be milked.
Like Psy being like, I'm so shocked that Uba went and hugged her. It's like
It's not
she
about
was
you.
breaking down. Like what? You're shocked that
That she
Uba
had
has like empathy and like
Yeah.
felt like like Brynn needed a hug in that moment. And like I am not a fan of Psy this reunion. I didn't appreciate anything she really had to say. Although I will say I am on Psy and Raquel's team with the whole like Uba was disrespecting Puerto Rico and like on a platform where Puerto Rico needs tourism, and like you're gonna say that their beaches are dirty and this and there's dead pigeons and there's nasty water you don't want to walk in. Like that's definitely gonna affect people wanting to go to Puerto Rico. And like
Yeah.
they were valid in being like, you can't say
Have you guys
that.
ever seen the movie Sideways about wine?
Yes.
The line, "I'm not drinking fucking Merlot," like crashed the Merlot market literally,
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
It's
just now
it's
coming
just
back.
now recovering, and that's like a 15, 20-year-old movie. But it
Yeah.
does like that shit
That
does
shit matters.
for the
It affects.
for the
yeah.
average person who like
Mhm.
isn't like a sommelier or a travel coordinator, and they're like, should we go to Puerto Rico or like
Uba and Real Housewives said
or
that
Jamaica?
too.
Yeah.
You know,
And
they're
then it's
like,
like, no,
well,
I actually
Uba
heard the
said-
beaches were dirty and like dead pigeons
It
were everywhere.
It
Like,
definitely has an effect.
No, you're so right too, because I'm like, there's a lot of trips that even I've planned based off of seeing it come up on Real Housewives. It was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what is this
Mhm.
tropical island that they're
Yes.
on?
I mean, we do the same with restaurants. Like when we were watching The Valley, we were like, oh my God, there's a new restaurant. We haven't tried that. And if they were like, oh my God, this guacamole is disgusting, we probably wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We hear the
Exactly.
Viall files can say that Puerto Rico is beautiful and you
It
should go
is.
there.
And I went there for our honeymoon.
Yeah.
I love Puerto Rico so much.
Puerto Rico, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad
Love it.
Bunny, great.
Oh, Bad Bunny.
Mm.
hmm
This episode is brought to you by IQBAR. When you have cravings, you want to make sure what you're snacking on is actually good for you. You can lean into health and wellness this year with an incredible IQBAR products carefully crafted for brain and body performance. Starting the new year off right with IQBAR's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all three, and right now IQBAR is offering our podcast listeners an exclusive deal, 20% off all IQBAR products plus get free shipping.
Also, we love the IQ Mix for easy, beneficial hydration moments. IQ Mix is a zero sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes, improves mood with magnesium, and boosts clarity with lion's mane adaptogens. If you're like me and you're trying to get off sugar, which I have been, good for me, by the way, and you also find water to be just a little, boring, this is what helps you. This is your game changer. You got to get those zero sugar, have a little flavor to them, taste good, stay off the sugar, and take care of yourself. You can take care of yourself and have good tasting drinks, and you can do that with IQ Mix.
I also feel like it's hard to find products like these mixed drinks and like bars that don't have a chalky, weird texture to them, but IQ Bar and IQ Mix have really changed the game. They have refreshing flavors like passion fruit, pina colada, lemon lime, peach mango, blueberry, pomegranate, and the ultimate sampler pack is a great way to try all IQ Bar products in flavors. You get 7 IQ bars, 4 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks.
For anyone trying to be healthy in 2025, IQ Bar is a really great cheat, especially for travel, airplane trips. Stop snacking on stuff that's bad for you, has a bunch of terrible ingredients. Get great tasting snacks that are good for you and help you stay away from those crappy things like, sugar. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, just text FILES, F-I-L-E-S, to 64,000. Again, that's FILES, F-I-L-E-S, to 64,000. That's FILES, F-I-L-E-S, to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Wow.
Hi, Rebecca.
Look at this setup.
Hi. Live from New York.
Live from New York in your own studio.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're excited to talk with you.
I'm so excited. This is 2 years in the making, I think, from the first DM.
Yeah, you were Rebecca and I first messaged because she was deep in Scandival and was at a dinner party with apparently some friends talking about our coverage of Scandival. Have you ever met Tom?
No. And I can't even keep my head straight around it. So the RAM is full now with lots of other Other
I'm
things have been
sure.
replaced.
Well, we just obviously got done watching Reunion Part 2, and you, I think, overnight announced that you will be leaving RHONY. Maybe we should just start there?
Just rip the Band-Aid off?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I was not, I didn't know what to expect you coming in, but that room felt very cold and harsh. Were you caught off guard by the energy that you walked into at the reunion?
I think that I expected the energy to be like that because I knew what was being discussed. I obviously knew Uba and Brynn's situation was going to come before I went on. And that can't be easy. So when I walked into the room and took a read, I knew everyone was having their own energy preservation of just what went on. But I expected it to warm up knowing like, it was time for my part, and that never happened. It felt cold. It remained cold for the balance until I left. So that part I was not expecting.
Okay. Like, obviously, you and Aaron seemed to get into it, and then a little bit of you and Brynn, but just the energy in the room, period, seemed like, I don't know, they were all kind of mad at you for some reason.
Yeah. I maybe there's a group chat that I'm not part of that something was planned prior to my arrival because I was on what I thought great terms with everyone. I mean, obviously, Brynn and I aren't besties, but I walked into the reunion thinking it would be fine. And I was honestly as surprised as probably you guys were in that moment. And just normally I'm aware when I do something and I take ownership for it. I could not figure out what I did, but I remember looking at each one like, are you going to give me a lifeline? No. You? No.
Wow.
Uba and Jessel did. But the rest it just felt icy.
Well, what happened with you and Aaron? I mean, have you been able to figure out like what her issues are with you? And are you guys still at angst with each other, or are you guys been able to reconcile it all?
I think it started, there was a BravoCon weekend where, she was on stage really distancing herself from the prank. And I don't want to talk about the prank. We've all heard it ad nauseum. But I was very much like, I sent a text. I think they showed it like, we did this together. I'm happy to take responsibility, but you were part of it. And that was met with then her going back on stage and kind of making fun of the brand. And as a friend who I thought she was a true friend, we hung out together. Our kids have played together. Our husbands met. I was like, wow, you're going to do that to me? Okay, fine. And then we played phone tag. She chose not to call back after the last call. And then an episode aired with some sensitive stuff about her father. And I didn't check in on her because I had actually checked in on her and been there for her when her dad actually passed. And I was hurt from the weekend. And so I guess to her, that made me fake and inauthentic and not standing up for women. And so we have yet to rectify anything. But I said, if people can be accountable, I don't hold grudges. When Sai apologized to me after calling me too nice and boring, I accepted her apology because I'm a grown woman. So I think as long as people are willing to do that work, like the door's open.
Did being called nice and boring bother you?
I didn't like that somehow when you're calling someone nice, that's now negative. Like, since when is being nice like a negative term? Maybe in Housewives land, that's now negative. But I was like, so I'm being made fun of because I'm nice. Cool. Okay. So it didn't upset me, but I was like, let's not further degrade women by saying a nice person is that's boring behavior to be nice.
So you felt like just her intention was negative, and that's the issue you had in a way.
I mean, I don't think her intention was negative. Sai just calls it as she thinks it and feels it. And I think that she was just speaking her mind. It was a hot mic moment, and that's what came out.
Have you tried to reach out to Aaron since the reunion?
I have not.
Why not?
Why?
Well, I mean, I guess, are you hoping to reconcile, or are you kind of like, fuck her? Because I guess if I found out a friend was mad at me, I guess I would have been like, hey, let's have a cup of coffee and put it in their car. For me, it's just more like if a friend's mad at me and I did something wrong, I would want to put the ball in their court so I could say like I did what I could, so to speak. And I guess I'm just like, but maybe you're just kind of over it.
Wait, are you saying I should do everything I can?
Well, I don't think you should do anything. I'm just kind of curious, where's your heart when it comes to this friendship? Like, if I didn't care about our friendship, if someone called me out or whatever, and and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, maybe I'd be like, there's a lot of friends I've had where I'm like, you know what? Maybe we've outgrown each other. I've moved on. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I fucked up, or you know, I don't agree with them, but like I clearly upset them. So like, but I do miss this friend. But like, so I'm just gonna reach out to him and say, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. And I'm like, but maybe you're not ready.
Yeah. I'm always ready again. If someone wants to be responsible and accountable, like I am happy to engage. If she decides to do that, then I'm happy to have a conversation. She publicly humiliated me more than one time.
Okay.
I did clap back one time. She didn't like that. And so I guess it's not a two-way street.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely different when it's on a national television show and like you know what you're doing.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It's not like you can publicly humiliate someone and then privately apologize. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you have to figure out, you know, how do you see if you did anything that could have been really hurtful? And again, I'm happy when people take accountability. I took it for my mistakes. It's actually easier when people do that.
No, that's true. How long were you actually on stage for? Because for us, it was the 5 questions Andy asked only about Scientology, and then you were done. Did he ask you anything else?
Yeah, I was there for about an hour. He asked the girls what they thought about my style. We had more conversations about, you know, the thing that shall not be spoken about, the prank. I'm trying to think of what else did we talk about. I think it was an hour mostly of that type of content.
Are you happy you went on RHONY, or do you regret going on RHONY?
I have 0 regrets. 0.
Okay.
I have a lot of lessons I learned. We got incredible things. I had incredible opportunities. I made some good friends out of it. And, you know, there are parts that are really, really fun. And part of what was sad about last night when I made my statement, I was like, there's a lot of things I'm going to miss. But it wasn't, you know, for me, something I wanted to chase that feeling of the anxiety, the mental headspace that you have to be in those moments. And it got dark, as you saw on the finale. And I didn't want to be in those moments. I feel like I've done a really thorough job of going through my life and trying to eliminate as much negativity as I can. And so for me, it was like, where are the good feelings? And let me chase that. I love what I do at Female Founder Collective. I love talking about my book and having my podcast. I love designing. I love being with my family. Let's chase those feelings. And so that was where I had to say, it doesn't matter about money or it being amazing for my business. If it causes those things to my heart, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I could never. I mean, I give all the housewives and every person in the Bravo community a lot of credit just because it asks a lot of its cast members to, you know, really be open about everything in their life, whether you want to be open about it or not. They, you know, the audience really is demanding of that. I guess my question, when you said yes to the experience, were you surprised just how demanding Bravo, its fans, and I guess production is of, you know, it's like, I don't think they seem to care much about your boundaries, so to speak, right? And I think that's kind of like this unwritten rule of reality TV in general, and specifically with Bravo and its fans, with its cast members. It's like, if you want us to root for you, if you want to be on the show, you gotta just talk about all of it, even rumors and yada yada, which is crazy behavior, but like that is what is expected. Did you realize that when you signed up for it, or is that something you kind of discovered, or just realized just how authentic, you know, Bravo and its fan base and community expects of its housewives and its cast people?
I was fully warned, so I went open with eyes wide awake. I was happy to share anything that was asked or questions that were brought up if they were done with the right intention in certain topics, which I'm sure you're going to ask me about. I don't think I was prepared for the media to twist my words like what they did over and over again. That surprised me, that I could take something that was positive or funny, and then it's like, I think I said on an interview, like, I literally was with Jenna Lyons saying like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if we were rivals? It was a joke. Even in the interview, I say it's a joke. And then the headline is, Rebecca tries to produce fake scene with Jenna Lyons. I was like, are you kidding me? You know, like just that was really shocking to me. And it made me want to not open up, because you're like, now what are people going to say? So that was hard to navigate. I'm sure from this interview, people are going to twist my words again. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's see what they come up with now. So That's a fascinating thing to see how reality can be twisted like that.
I said this earlier, and I'd love to know your opinion on it, but I thought it was very strange how they crucified you for not talking about your religions and all of that stuff, but we have Jenna Lyons who doesn't open up about what she had for breakfast. So, like, how do you find the balance of, like, why do I get hold to this such high expectation, but other people in this cast don't?
You know, I think in the moment when I was going through reunion whack-a-mole, as I'll call it, it was something that came to my mind. I was like, wait, there's a lot of things that people aren't talking about. And there are a lot of things that were done and reshot by some other cast members when they weren't happy with the outcome. Why is this just on me? But I think, I don't know what goes into the minds of who gets the favoritism or the free pass and who doesn't. But I think that certain people were allowed to not talk about things, and that was okay for them to have those boundaries. And with me, the irony, right? If I would have come in and been like, want to talk about it, want me to share everything, people would have been like, she's proselytizing, she's trying to convert people. So either way, right? If I was going to be reserved or if you're, asking me respectfully, I'll engage. But any way I played it in that scenario, I likely would have been attacked. So sometimes you just go, oh, you know what? I can't please all, and I'm just going to do the best that I can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Do you have, like, as far as the Brynn and Uba of it all, and we mentioned this kind of earlier, obviously this is a very sensitive topic as it relates to what happened to Brynn. But, like, how do you see it? Because another thing that I really noticed too, it's just like all the women were just basically calling Brynn a liar about many things. Like, it's like Brynn would say, I had ketchup, whatever, and she's like, you didn't say that, and at the same time, we obviously want to hold space for Brynn and this very terrible event that happened to her. How did you see it in terms of the other women being so certain of Brynn's intentions? Because while it does seem like Brynn has some issues with the truth, when it came to this event, of Brynn's confession about what happened to her, in some ways, I understand Brynn being like, I wasn't in the right mindset. This is a very traumatic event. People are coming at her. She's obviously triggered.
Yeah.
And while it seems like she, I understand Uba's frustration. I understand that they have a lot to work through. Some of the other women being so certain of Brynn's intention and accusing her of trying to destroy Uba, that was a little lost on me, because how can they be so sure of something, especially when we're talking about sexual assault, we're talking about trauma and things of that nature. But where do you land on that topic?
I land on the topic, first and foremost, I 100% believe what Brynn said happened to her. And I think that any woman who has had to go through that experience, I can't even imagine what's going through your mind and how you talk about it afterwards. Being there in that moment, seeing it all go down in real time, it was very clear that Uba did not know. And that once again, as we saw throughout the season, Brynn was stirring the pot and it went too far. The pot overflowed. And I think, none of us were recording this, and maybe we should have. Cameras were down, everyone had gone home. And when she was telling us the story of how it got, how she told Uba, and details were missing and things were changing, it just became clear that Uba did not know. I don't think that anyone swears on their deceased mother or their future unborn child or has the visceral reaction. I was in the room with Uba. I was the one sitting in front of her, getting her to come back down to earth because she was not here. I was packing her bag for her so she could leave for the hotel. Someone doesn't act like that if they knew. So I think two things can be true. What Brynn went through sounds horrific and a nightmare, but to weaponize that, as Sai said, it's unacceptable. And we watched these little lies and these twisting of truths all season. It was very obvious, happened to me right away almost. So I think that, it's sad.
Do you think Brynn's intention was to weaponize it? I mean, you were there, so maybe we're being a little critical of the other ladies.
I don't think she goes, ooh, let me weaponize this. I think she said, ooh, let me start, this fight and have it be chaos. Because all night, if you look back, for 24 hours, she was throwing out bait to different people. She threw it out to Aaron. She threw it out to Jessel. She, in one scene, and if they ever want to play this footage, she's like, why don't you start this? And I was like, I wasn't there. I'm not doing that. And, she takes a shot, rolls her shoulders back and throws out the bait. So to me, I think she was just looking for someone to bite. And unfortunately, it was the wrong topic to have someone bite.
So you think she knew what she was saying when she said it, and she knew she was saying something that wasn't true?
I think she knew what she was saying. I don't think she knew the drastic consequences. I think she thought maybe this will end and erupt like any other situation, but this topic you can't do that with. But I don't want to assume and put words in her mouth or tell anyone what she was thinking, because I have no idea, to be honest.
We understand that, but you were there, and it's like it's easy for us to debate, hypotheticals when we weren't, like it matters to see someone's body language and look on their face when they say something, as opposed to like maybe she was hysterical and you're like, I don't know, maybe she honestly had no idea what she was saying. So it's interesting to hear your point of view.
I think it was just a bad move on the chessboard to have that be the topic.
Do you think Brynn is trying to produce the show?
I think that at times she tried to produce, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that no one wants that. So I think we didn't like it. The producers didn't like it.
The fans didn't like it.
But at the end of the day, you need conflict. And would we have had conflict without Brynn? I don't know. So in a way, she can be great for that franchise.
Yeah, it's
if
tough.
You really
I mean,
look at it.
This drama aside, to that point, it's like, if Jenna's going to be like, how's my robe? Like it's really tough to work with that, If your stick is the unproblematic queen, I don't know how to work with that. It's like,
listen, I would sit there going, okay, none of us are naturally and organically going to fight. And you know what? Sometimes I'm like, Brynn took one for the team in a way that she was aware of the conflict that needs to happen in order for this to be interesting, good or bad. And I think that, at the end of the day, though, it needs to be real. It shouldn't be produced.
How did it feel to be in a space that these people preach, like, women empowerment and support women and this and that, and then to have all of these women bash your brand?
Well, luckily it was only 2 people bashing my brand.
Who were the 2?
I think it was only 2. I think it was just Brynn and then Aaron at the end.
Well, there was the interview, I think, of, wasn't it Uber? Someone saying that you had gifted them the bags and they were like, yeah, I haven't worn them or not my style.
Yeah,
that
was Aaron. Uba said she liked the bag, and so I don't count her as
Okay.
I guess it hurt more when Aaron did it because Aaron's my friend.
Right.
It hurt less when Brynn did it. It was actually a gift because I was like, oh, I see you now. Okay, this is the game we're playing. Cool. It did not hurt me in the way that I think everyone expected. Like they were like, why didn't you stand up for yourself? I'm like, I don't even need, this is petty to me. Do you know what has happened to me in the 20 years I've built my business? Like I have been single white femaled in my own company. I have had, things thrown at me, like you name it, I've experienced it. So someone trashing a brand just shows that they don't understand business, frankly. So that was not upsetting to me. It was just like, thank you for the gift. My gut is right. I see you. For Aaron, I was like, that sucks. That really sucks. And then I went low as well. And I clapped back and here we are today, not talking. So,
I mean, I think that's what's so upsetting is like they focused so much on other things in your life that it's like you seem like you have been through so much and you have worked your way to such a high level of success that it's like, I would have loved to learn that about you, but they weren't interested in,
that was the disappointment I had because going in, and I truly believe this, when I had my conversations with production, it was like 8 elevated women, all self-made, diverse backgrounds, fun, funny, with who I am and what I stand for and what I do all day long. I would never, I think, have agreed to come into this type of environment had I known. And maybe someone can say that was naive of me, but that's what I was genuinely told. And it was reiterated many times. And so I think it's just this, like, all right, how am I going to navigate this in a way? I have to remain authentic to me. And I did show more. There are scenes on the cutting room floor, of fun office stuff with my daughter and photo shoots and dinner, a dinner event, me and Jenna and Jessel and Raquel would too. Jessel and I did this fashion and founders event for 30 incredible designers. That was all there. Uba put together an amazing panel with Fern Malice and me and Melissa Wood Tepperberg, and we talked about our careers, all gone. So it was there.
Yeah.
If people had made the decision that was important. And I think women are ready to see this stuff on TV. You can have both. You can have these powerful, awesome moments, and then you can have the petty fighting. But for whatever reason, it was all just this. Becky doesn't talk and she's boring.
How much of your religion, specifically like to Scientology, do you think impacted your experience on this season?
You mean in how I was viewed?
Well, that too, and how the women, like I didn't realize when you would come on, they would, your entire conversation would be mostly centered around that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
But yeah, do you think that's ultimately what framed your character arc or whatever? They seem to focus on that.
There was a lot of focus on it. I very much felt like there's an entire world here. As I mentioned, just 3 scenarios that was not focused on. Again, I can't speak to why. I'm assuming it's clickbait headlines and attention getting because it is a newer religion. People don't understand it, so they will click that over something else. I was disappointed in the fact that, with almost everyone, I was happy to have the conversation, but I'm only going to have it with you if it's genuine and it's your interest. It's not this salacious type seeking opportunity. And so that's where, when I know you're going to do that, like at the picnic, if you've never bothered to get to know me and my experience with you thus far is these little annoying jabs and taking down my brand, you think I'm going to open up to you about my most personal and private beliefs? Like, who the hell would?
Yeah.
So it was like a little laughable to me that they're like, you should have opened up more. Oh, really? You made it safe for me? I don't think so. And so that's how I kind of felt about it.
I'm going to try to ask you a question around this. You can let me know if you think it's respectful or not.
Okay.
But I want you to feel comfortable. There was a scene you had with Erin, like when she brought it up to you, and you said something I found very interesting. Or Erin brought up criticisms that Scientology has received or something to that effect. And you said something like, like all religions, there are good and bad aspects to it or something like that. And like you have pulled through what you found to be the good aspects of that, right? Something to that effect. Does that resonate with you?
Was this the reunion?
No, you guys were at like a lunch or something. And you were basically like, hey, listen, like there's just things that I've personally have benefited from, being a Scientologist, where it was like, I'm just saying, like, I kind of related to that comment. I grew up very Catholic, right? So
yep.
I have very positive experiences growing up Catholic. I don't practice much anymore these days, but my experience was always positive, right? And I resonated with that comment because, like, as someone who grew up Catholic, I was also very much made aware from people a lot of times who weren't Catholic, some of their criticisms of the Catholic faith, specifically with some of the things that priests have done and some of the, like, quite honestly, like some of the very terrible accusations that have centered around Catholic religion. So, and as someone who was a Catholic, it's like I felt like I could still be a proud Catholic while also acknowledge that some things have gone on in the church that I don't necessarily stand for or agree with, but acknowledge that maybe they have happened. And I think, like for me, for example, and I'll just speak for myself, I know very little about your religion. I'm and most of what I know is the criticisms it's received. And I think, and some of those criticisms make you a little uncomfortable sometimes, where you're just like, I don't even know how to talk to a Scientologist. I don't even know if it's safe to talk to a Scientologist because of some of the stuff I've heard. And I think sometimes people have those questions about the criticisms because, like, they just want to know, like, what's up, type of thing, where it's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so
I do.
It feels 100%. Like sometimes a refusal to, like, even acknowledge some of the criticisms or even talk about them, which makes some people, I think, not speaking for other people per se, but like even myself, where it's just like, well, what's up with that? Because I can say like fucking some Catholic priests like deserve to be in prison, and I'm cool with saying that. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. So I'll say a couple things. I think that when you have any activity that involves millions of people, there are going to be some dissatisfied customers, right? Okay. No one is discounting that. I can only speak from my experience of having done it and applied it to my life for the last 20 years of what it's done for me. I also think that I am never, ever, ever uncomfortable by anyone asking me anything. You could ask me all the crazy questions about everything you've heard any time of day. It is only when I know I'm on a reality TV show, they're going to cut this, they're going to have someone say something behind my back about it. It doesn't, and going in, there are these preconceived ideas. Like, and I said it last night at the reunion, this show is not the format to answer everyone's questions in terms of, am I going to get a fair shot? And I think you can see I didn't get a fair shot. So my observations were probably correct. But if you wanted to ask me whatever you wanted, if we wanted to sit down and have a drink and you go, okay, this is everything. Oh my gosh, I'm happy to clear that up, because it's the misconceptions about it that I think people do want to know, and rightfully so, and one of the things that Brynn didn't like, I was like, read a book, go to the website, it's free. And she thought that was weird, but I'm like, but that's the source of the information, So I'm never scared or uncomfortable, but it does come down to intention behind it. Is it to know and be curious and want to clarify, or is it to be snide and dig and try and, make someone wrong, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand it. I mean, like, when it comes to some of the criticisms, are you like, do you acknowledge that, like, like, are any of the rumors, or like, there must be some truths about them? Kind of like I said, like, like you said, you can't speak for everyone, but I acknowledge that, like, I mean, shit, a priest I knew growing up turned out to be a bad guy.
I mean, we'd have to sit here and go through every one of them.
Yeah, no, but like, and that's not my intention of doing that.
Raquel, Raquel brought up, like, I have to give a percentage of my salary. I texted her. I was like, by the way, ma'am, I don't give anything to anyone that I don't want to give to. So let's just be clear. And she's like, well, good, because that would be a lot of money. And it was just like, no, I don't have to give a part of my salary to anything. It's my money. And so I think that there's, again, everyone has different questions, but I can tell you that the things that were asked of me, at least from the cast, that I answered, whether with Jesselyn or Raquel, no, those things are not true. Okay. And for me, again, it helped me overcome extreme depression that I thought I could never get out of. It helped me be a better mom and communicator and raise children that, while they're not perfect, neither am I, are good, happy kids.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering some of those questions. What's next for you, Rebecca?
Well, my book, Fearless, is out in paperback. I guess you could say I was a bit fearless going in and getting out of RHONY. Yeah. And what my goal was in writing this book was to have 22 very easy tools that you can remember when you're facing things that scare the fuck out of you. And do you proceed? And so after 20 years in business, I felt like I had enough insane stories to tell. So I'm telling you these rules through my stories of failure and cringeworthy moments and the lessons I learned. And then I have my podcast, which continues to be exceptionally exciting with the guests I have. And just working on my 20th anniversary, which is all year long. We're just going to party.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time, Rebecca. We really appreciate it. Sad to see you leave RHONY, and wishing you nothing but the best going forward.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Rebecca.
It was very uncomfortable asking that Scientology question.
I think you did that very, very well.
Listen, I 100% get where she's coming from. If you are of any, to open up about any personal aspect of your life, whether it's your beliefs, whether it's whatever you practice, whether it's children, whether it's past trauma, like anything in your life, you don't want to open that up in a room of people who don't give a fuck about you.
I get that.
And like, don't create a safe space. Like, I 100% get where she's coming from. I wouldn't answer any questions either.
Same.
I think it was gross of Bravo to do what they did to her regarding Scientology. However,
they're just
why bring her on the show, and then why platform something that's that controversial in that way without like fully having the capability to deal with it? It's just, why did they do it?
And cut out every other thing she ever shot for the show. It's like, you brought her on it. Yeah, it's gross.
Because now she's reality TV's like spokeswoman of Scientology.
I'm also so confused because I feel like they're making weird editing choices, because Vanita from Southern Charm also posted a video earlier this week, and it was from the past episode of them being out at a bar and like having fun and drinking and all that stuff, and it's like, we don't get to see any of that. This season has been so boring. And then to come to find out that they filmed all of these events and things that they were actually working with together, it's like, why did we see none of that besides you guys sitting 2 by 2 talking about other cast members?
I would have loved to see her at a photo shoot with her children. I would have loved to see her speak about her business. I would have loved to see her in other rooms with the women. But it's like, yeah, that is...
in theory, though, but maybe it just didn't land.
Maybe she was boring.
Bravo needs to bring back their unseen footage episodes. They used to do it every single season of Housewives, where like the last 2 episodes were after reunion, and it was just like every single footage you haven't seen, just there to watch.
Yeah, Vanderpump. They did that on Vanderpump too, and it was just like the most chaotic scenes that didn't make the episode.
still.
But even then, the episodes were chaotic and good. It's like you're cutting out all of the meat and bones and all of the good stuff, and then you're handing us a carcass, being like, "How do you feel about this?" And it's like,
we're
I
like,
fucking
it's
know nothing.
boring.
I don't, no taste, no flavor, no seasoning, no meat.
I think it's safe to say all these ladies on RHONY were very measured and very safe and very like uncomfortable with leaning in, except for Brynn, and not to excuse her for some of the behavior we saw. It was interesting to hear Rebecca, like, you know, all these women, it seems very clear that they think Brynn knew what she was saying when she was saying it. To
Right.
Reba.
I was like, the only other person I feel like that was like vulnerable or gave us something outside of dynamics in this friendship group was Raquel, who actually like opened up about like her relationship with her parents and all that stuff. And I was like, why does nobody else get?
I feel like Jessel kind of
Jessel did
did.
too.
And Jessel did too, for sure. But I'm like, yeah. So it's like, but with these people that have so much power, and Raquel is just as powerful as a Jenna Lyons, for example, that I'm like, why are we not having like Rebecca showing her at events, showing her like interacting with other people besides just people talking about her?
I think the one criticism I wanted to ask Rebecca about Scientology is the accusations around some of the people in that community are known to harass and bully former members. It's tough because like I get what you're all saying. I do. We don't talk about religion, period, on this show. We don't be like, so why are you Buddhist? You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, we don't interrogate people's religions. But with this particular one, there is a lot more controversy around it, with a lot more salacious theories and accusations that do make you uncomfortable, given like a lot of people's beliefs that they are not rumors, that they're truths. And there does seem to be a caginess or a resistance to talk about it. I know Rebecca, you know, I don't know.
She had the talking points that many Scientologists that speak publicly about Scientology have. It's similar. They all say very, very similar things in a way that leads many people to believe that there's a coaching aspect of it. The communication aspect of it is a big part of it.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, so
and
it's
she
like,
seems lovely.
Yeah,
She does.
she seems lovely. Yeah. Anyway, anyone who ever wants to watch the documentary, Going Clear,
I watched it.
it makes you. Is it a religion? I don't like. It's a complicated question.
Well, she seems delightful, and we wish her nothing but the best. And hopefully, she's able to maintain her friendships with most of the cast. And I hope that Aaron and her can reconcile. All right, well, that wraps it up for today. Don't forget to check out that interview with Carl Ratke. We have a really big week lined up for you next week. Super excited about what is coming up then. We will see you then. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.